Welcome to Cult Film and Review, the podcast where we discuss the films you love but no one else gets, and we see if they still hold up. Tonight, we are venturing into the not-so-distant future where love is binary and the apocalypse is just a backdrop, because we're talking about Cherry 2000. So let's start the show. Hey guys, tonight we are talking about Cherry 2000, but before we do, as always, I am joined by Michael Salustio.
Hello, everyone.
Chris Willenbrecht.
Hey, what's up?
And Kyle Smith.
Hey, how's it going?
I just want to say also thank you so much for being a part of the cult. We really appreciate it. Do us a favor. Head over to iTunes. Leave us a review. And if you do, we'll give you a shout out at the end of the show. We got one to do.
Shout out.
So thank you so much for that. Like I said, we got that at the end of the show, so stick around for that. Also, fan picks are officially in, guys. Get them in. Head over to our website if you can make it function and drop them in there. And we will gladly pick one of those to review on the show.
Can I be honest? I don't want to update the website because we're not gonna be able to make fun of it anymore.
Yeah, right. Actually, today, Cherry 2000 is a fan pick. Just a real quick rundown on Cherry 2000 before we get into the fan who picked this and why it's a fan pick. Cherry 2000 is the title of the film. It was directed by Steve.
Great segue.
Desjarnais? Is that how you would say that? Desjarnais?
Desjarnais.
Desjarnais?
That's a good question.
Desjarnais.
Desjarnais.
Yeah.
Everybody's got names I can't pronounce here. We got
Jarnat.
written by Floyd Fonaville?
Yeah, we're
Fonaville?
Yep.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah.
Written by a couple of fellows.
Starring Melanie Griffith, David Andrews, and Pamela? Is it Pamela Kidley?
Pamela.
Pamela.
Why is there a Y?
That one wasn't. Where's there a Y?
Hey guys, if you put it on the whiteboard, I'm gonna read it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
It's Pamela
Thanks,
on
Pamela.
IMDb.
Family.
To the best, I'm gonna read it to the best of my ability, which is not a good ability. It came out in 19.
Some call it your superpower.
Some would say. Give the dyslexic guy something to read. Budget had 10 million budget.
1987.
Did it make 14 million in the box office? No,
14,000 is what I saw.
14,000 is it what it made in the box office because
I
it was
had to
released.
double take that.
It was released on home video. That's why.
Oh, okay.
It was released
All right.
overseas theatrically and then released home video here.
I see. All right. Well, what did it make worldwide?
14,000.
I don't know if anybody
14,000.
tracks
So
that.
even in
So the
Europe, it
number
didn't do too well.
No, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the Europe numbers are, and so 14. We're going with 14,000.
Okay.
We don't know.
gotta be
Let's
one
be
of the
honest. We don't know what the
lowest.
domestic numbers really are
Yeah.
either. This is just,
This is pure
What the
internet
internet
speculation. And then it has a rating of PG-13. Currently sits at a critic score of 38% on Rotten Tomatoes and has a 41% audience score. This, like I said, was a fan pick. Kyle,
Yes.
can you tell us about the fan and why they picked this movie?
Absolutely. This is a fan pick. This came from Howard. I hope I don't fuck up your last name, Pirat. And he said, "Welcome back, guys. I'm very happy you returned. Cherry 2000, directed by Steve Desjarnais. Jarnett, whatever it is a post-apocalyptic tale of a man looking for love in all the wrong places. Orion Studios worried Cherry 2000 was blending too many genres and shelved this film in favor of releasing RoboCop first. By the time Cherry 2000 did get released in cinemas, it was very limited number of screens. Fans discovered this film through VHS rentals. Cherry 2000 is filled with interesting sets, incredible action pieces, crazy characters, and a happy ending. Please rate it Robot Chassis." And he has gone ahead and rated it 3.5.
Okay.
3.5.
I'm glad we don't have
chassis.
to think about what we're going to rate this.
Right,
thing.
thank
Did
you.
it for us.
I do appreciate you giving us the robot chassis. No, I'm being serious.
Yeah, that's great.
So let's go around the room, though, and let's figure out who has seen this, who hasn't seen it before, and we'll start with Mike. Mike, have you seen Cherry 2000 before?
No, but I thought I had. But
What?
I realized that the reason why is because don't you have a poster don't you have a Cherry 2000 poster?
I do not.
What the fuck? I feel like I have seen Cherry 2000, the Cherry 2000 poster somewhere like routinely, and I thought it was when I used to get haircuts at your house.
No, I don't.
Okay,
No.
then never mind. I don't know, but no, I had not seen Cherry 2000.
Can I be honest? I'm going to begin a long joke where I'm going to strategically place Cherry 2000 posters
yeah.
around your life. You're
That's where
driving
I
to
saw
work.
it.
There's a
Yeah.
sticker on the wall. It's
Yeah.
Cherry
It's
2000.
like everywhere I go.
That was
That was
me.
Kyle.
Everywhere
It
it
was me.
goes, Cherry
Struck.
2000.
Tagged.
Your madness is my pleasure.
What about you, Chris?
No, I had never seen this movie.
How is this possible?
That would be
Yeah.
very weird if you had had a poster the whole time and
that's
had
why
never
I'm
seen
sure
it.
I
Yeah.
don't have one because this is my first watch, and
I'm calling bullshit.
yeah,
Mike
so-
saw a poster.
I don't have a lot to say
Mike
other
saw a
than
poster.
I always wondered about this movie, and it was always on the list, the mega list of all the things that are still there. And I'm glad we got to it.
I'm not surprised that you didn't see this one. I'm not surprised. I don't feel like sci-fi is your genre, so you're not
Wow.
going to
It's
jump
not
into
not. It's not not.
It's not
but
not one.
and it was always something that did appeal to me because it has Melanie Griffith on the cover with a gun and
Yeah.
looking like with a cool haircut, and I mean,
it. We'll debate. We'll debate that cool haircut.
Yeah, no, you're right. I get it. So for me, I thought, oh, okay, and I actually really like Melanie Griffith in Cecil B. Demented,
Yeah.
and I think when I saw that film in the early 2000s, it kind of made me put Cherry 2000 on my list because I thought maybe
Right.
it'd be cool to see Melanie Griffith in
something else.
in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kyle?
So I have a long memory of this box from the video store. I always remember it, and I always had the assumption that Melanie Griffith was in fact Cherry 2000.
You and
this-
everyone.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
movie came on TV at like 3 a.m. one time, and I changed channels, and I thought I had seen this movie, but really, all I have actually seen is the 10 or so minutes that he spends trying to find a tracker.
Yeah.
Him like walking into the bar and
Yeah.
talking to people is like the only stuff I know. And I watched it just long enough to learn that Melanie Griffith wasn't Cherry 2000. This blonde person was, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
that's all I knew about it.
Pamela
Pamela.
was.
Pamela.
Sorry,
Christ.
Pamela.
So can I tell you something?
Yes.
Flabbergasted right now, blown away that I am the only one who has seen this
Okay.
You've
prior.
seen this?
You know what?
Okay.
I'm just really glad that you're saving all of us
Yeah.
right now because we were like
Me
nobody's
too.
seen
So
it.
I grew
Like
up with this
relieved.
movie on cable.
Okay, all right. I,
I
don't
feel
know
like this is like
why.
a TBS, or I saw it somewhere around
I feel like that's
like-
where I saw it.
like that. Is like where I saw it, and I watched this movie, and I haven't watched this movie in a very, very long time. Probably since I was a teenager.
That's wild.
But yeah, I saw this movie I want to say on sick days or some shit. I was at home and I was like, "What's this?" Like
It's an
it's got
afternoon TNT watch or something.
yeah, and like in this movie, when you're like a kid or a teenager, you're like, "Ooh, what's this? Sex? Oh,
Sexy scene right
oh,
here.
there's a silhouette of boobs.
oh yeah, people." Like so that was my thing. Is like, yeah, I kind of feel like I grew up with it. So it's kind of weird to me that none of you guys have seen this before because this is one of those ones that definitely could play. It plays on TV. Like it just
Okay.
does.
Yeah, that's where I saw it, was on TV.
Weird, just so weird that you guys.
Wait, I thought you said you hadn't seen it before.
No, that's where I had seen.
the part that he
that
saw.
section.
I've
of the
seen.
section.
I've
film.
seen just
Yeah.
a small chunk of it.
He
I
turned
thought
the
I
channel
saw-
quickly, is
yeah,
what he's saying.
I thought I saw more,
No.
and then I was watching this movie, and I was like, I have not seen shit of this movie. I think I've seen 5 minutes. I thought I saw the whole thing already.
Right.
All right, guys, it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show, and that's Plots and Shots with Mike.
It's so weird. It's like something out of Willow or something. Like,
I'm so glad that it's finally come to fruition. Like, we've been wanting that for 4 shows now, and we finally got it.
Well, you had to start here. You're welcome.
all right.
There's your theme song finally.
This one stars Sam Treadwell. He's an executive in a post-apocalyptic world. He is, I guess, he has a partnership with a sex robot named Cherry 2000. And one day, while about to make love, she gets wet from like a sink, and she short circuits. And he's like, "Oh shit!" He tries to take her to the local repair guy, and he's like, "Hey, this is an older model. There's not much we can do about it. We have her memory on a disc, but you're gonna have to figure out where to find this model. And the only place I know where you can get it is in like the Badlands, like this Mad Max world where just the worst people live, right?"
Zone 7.
So yeah, so he hires a tracker by the name of E. Johnson, played by Melanie Griffith, to find Cherry 2000. Little does he know that her one stipulation is that he's got to go with her. Right, so he's on this quest too, and they traverse the Badlands to find Cherry 2000 and bring his love back into his life.
That is
That's
the
a pretty
plot. You
solid-
nailed that one.
Yeah, that's a
Beautiful.
solid.
I didn't.
plus and
I
there.
really didn't have to interrupt.
That's it's incredible.
So tell me what are we sipping on tonight then?
Guys, I called this one.
What's
I felt a little bad. I feel like maybe in our short episode, I talked a little bit of crap about the MCU. Maybe I don't know. Did I?
Yes.
I mean, we all did.
I think
We all
we
did a
all- we
little
all
bit.
did, yeah.
So I'm calling this drink "I Love You, Cherry 2000."
Okay.
Aw.
Love you, Cherry 2000.
And this
Little
one,
Iron Man reference there.
have a nice sip. How we feeling? How we feeling about this one?
Ooh,
Very bitter.
very, very bitter.
Very, very bitter.
Very, very bitter.
No cherry. You don't taste
Very
cherry.
cherry bitter.
Okay, cherry bitter. Thank you.
Cherry bitter for
I'm
sure.
It is a bitter drink.
I'm getting mostly bitter.
That's rough for me.
Is that
That's-
I'm not-
I
Aperol?
don't- I'm not a fan.
Is that Aperol
Oh,
in
it's
there?
Campari.
Campari is the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have pulled
a
back on the
Campari
Campari. I'm sorry, guys.
It's good though
Grapefruit,
because no.
Hey,
Don't,
they
get,
can all
don't
be
get down
grapefruit.
on this.
Grapefruit.
Don't get down on this
All right,
drink
all right.
because it is good. I think
Don't think I hit your guys'
number one,
palates.
first sip, never the true test. Secondly,
Let's do another
on
one.
the
Cody.
back end, it has a
Second
nice
sip.
finish.
That's where I'm having problems.
That would be the chocolate.
I'm having problem. Oh,
I'm not
there's-
getting
I don't
any
need
chocolate.
Uh,
I'm getting.
Is it like
I'm
100%
getting
cocoa?
Campari.
I'm
co-
definitely
coating
getting
my entire
chocolate.
tongue.
But what it is yes, that bitterness up front, but like the sweetness would be too overwhelming if that bitterness wasn't there.
That's
it
why
would be
I
too
made it
sweet.
a little
Yeah.
bitter. And personally, I
Cloyingly
love a good
sweet.
bitter drink, but I know it's not everybody's thing. Yeah, I definitely the first time I made this, I actually did make this with less Campari and more cherry hearing, which is like a cherry liqueur,
Yeah.
and it was like overly sweet. I didn't
Yeah.
like it at all. The second one, I just felt like I nailed it, but I guess I
It's
I
a
don't wanna-
sipper.
at least I didn't
It's a
nail it.
sipper,
I
So
don't.
that's
I don't.
all.
I'm not trying to offend anybody, but this is what I'm getting. And this is just my opinion.
Yeah, go
I'm
for
not
it.
a big drinker at all.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I will preface it with that. It's like it's like a cough medicine,
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
like a very alcohol-y
Well,
cough
there's that,
medicine.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
actually
kind of like a
grateful that it's
Robitussin
not
vibe.
too cough medicine-y. Like I know where
Okay.
you're
Chris likes it.
I know where you're going with it. I know where you're going with that. Like, and the cherry is really I think what's putting that painting that
No,
flavor.
I'm
But
getting like a burning taste afterwards.
Yeah, there's something that where like the top and back of my tongue is getting lit. It's
Mm.
Campari. It's
Okay.
because Campari,
It's Campari.
is, if I
Very
remember
bitter.
correctly, it is a liqueur that's made out of grapefruit.
Well, yeah. Like I think
Oh.
it's a
'Cause
lot
it's
of
grapefruit rind.
I think
is
it's
the flavor I'm
rinds
getting.
and
That's-
a lot of
that's-
good
that
stuff.
makes
So it's
sense.
citron.
Makes a lot of
almost,
sense, yeah.
Okay, now
All right.
you said the
That's the
grapefruit
bitter.
part. You're
That
hitting
is
me
Well-
with
good
it.
in there.
Well, I don't know if maybe there's somebody.
Grapefruit rind. or
does it
something.
make it better knowing that it's grapefruit now?
I feel
It
like
doesn't make it better for me because I'm not a big grapefruit fan.
Okay.
So that's
All right.
probably why
All
I
right.
don't like this.
Kyle, do you like the drink? Do you like the drink? I feel like you're the one person that's kind of a distinguishing palate towards certain
Alcohol.
things. No. Yeah,
You
like
just
I mean,
judge.
he's
You
like a
trust your palate.
he's
You
like
talk
an old,
mad
he's
shit
like a
about both of you
sommelier and
guys.
stuff like that. No, he's like a sommelier.
He knows
so
I
he
eat dog
has-
shit. That's why. Hey, you like dog shit?
straight out the yard.
Yeah.
I like it. I
Okay,
okay.
Just want to make sure.
I like
Somebody.
it and I appreciate it. The bitter thing is a Campari thing. I've just never been
Okay.
like if I'll do Campari, it's gonna be like I don't know, like in like club soda a little bit,
Mhm.
like that kind of a cocktail
Mhm.
where it's like a main focus. I usually avoid just because of I get too much white grapefruit rind flavor in my
Okay.
throat, and then like my tongue just reacts to bitter in a way that just blocks the
Okay.
enjoyment for the most
Okay.
part. I
Okay.
like it. I think it's a good snack. I wish there was more cherry. I smell what I think is like a maraschino cherry liqueur kind of vibe that's happening, but
It's not,
I wish
but
there
that's
was
okay.
more of a cherry element to it.
Okay.
So it's
Huh.
too grapefruit
See, I
heavy.
pull- I
What if
pull-
there was
I-
a vanilla?
I pulled
element
the
to it?
cherry
Better
back.
almonds actually. If you put like orgeat maybe
You think-
syrup
you
in
think
it,
like a
that,
syrup?
that
Yeah.
would soften it and give it more of the dark cherried flavor to it.
Yeah, but I will tell you what is in
Yeah.
this. It is 1.5 ounces of rum. The only reason I chose
Tastes
rum,
zero rum.
yeah,
Same.
you wouldn't. It actually blends really nicely, and I picked a rum that is very subdued. It's not gonna like overpower anything. It's like very like it kind of seeps in. The only reason I did that was because when he goes into the bar, when Sam goes into the bar, the 1st thing he orders is 151.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I was not going to fucking do that to you guys.
Oh,
like
thank
I'm not
you.
trying to kill anybody. I did try to make it with like a really high proof rum when I first made it. Again, it was too sweet and way too much of a punch in the face.
Mm.
So I took that back. And then it also has Campari, like an ounce. Has a good amount of Campari. I'll be honest with you. And it has about half an ounce of cherry hearing, which is a very sweet liqueur. When I made it the first time, I made it with an ounce, and I just thought it was a little overpowering. And then there's some chocolate bitters in there because I felt like chocolate and cherries go pretty well together, so I threw that in there.
Can I be honest? I was anticipating today's snack would have some Black Forest cake kind of vibes and chocolate cherry vibes. I don't know if anyone actually did that, but
Can I be honest? Covered by Campari is my new band name.
covered by Campari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's garnished with a cherry.
So is that like
we
a
just do
post-
covers.
what
We're
is
like
it,
an emo band.
post-punk
We're like
or-
an emo band.
Okay.
Like, it's like our thing. It's like an early 2000s
The
thing.
funny thing about it is like I this is actually very much my type of drink.
You're on a tour with,
This
like,
is
Bullet
your
for
kind of drink,
Valentine.
huh?
Yeah, I love a real
Yeah,
bitter
you like a
drink.
bitter, and that's like
Yeah.
This tastes a lot like the if you go to Vegas and go to the they have the Coca-Cola place. You can get the pour
Beverly?
of every single.
Yeah.
Is it Beverly? Is what it's called?
Beverly is like the
The
Italian.
So
yes.
Italian Coke is
Yes.
basically tastes like this.
Okay.
It's a strong bitter.
It's kind of what I was going for. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
And that's probably why when
Well, you
I
achieved
got
it
it, I
for
was like,
sure.
I nailed it. This is so good. Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna love it. And it's like, no, I don't think
It's just a very specific.
You have to have
it's a really
palate
specific
for this.
palate. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
okay.
it's very strong. Like it is. Like I wouldn't be mad if I ordered this and like, like I didn't know what it
No,
was.
I'll put
Like,
it down.
but at the same time, like I wouldn't get it again.
Mm.
Yeah.
How much did you put bitters in as well? You said chocolate.
Chocolate
Because I'm
bitters.
getting like a weird botanical as well.
The
to
end,
it.
like I see these. I used Fee Brothers bitters, which I feel like tastes a little bit like fudgesicle, a little bit, like a Tootsie Roll kind of
No,
situation.
I'm getting more
I'm not
like
a big fan of that. I think I
I'm
would
getting
get
more
another
like
chocolate bitter.
a spice blend you would probably add to mull cider maybe.
Okay.
There's like either coriander or anise or something. There's some sort of like botanical.
Okay.
That's what made me
Gardens.
think you'd like Pachari bitters is what I'm tasting.
Okay. Okay.
But
That
was a good drink.
Yeah, cool,
Oh,
Mike.
glad-
Thank you.
that's
It
all
looks
right.
beautiful too. I don't know if we said that, but when you showed it,
is-
it was
it
like
is a-
very
yeah.
cherry.
It's a very
Absolutely.
velvety look.
It feels like it has.
gorgeous.
I always feel like this has the color of something you would get in like a really
Classy
like
place.
dark,
Absolutely.
Seedy
place.
swanky, yeah,
Definitely, yeah.
like bar with like
Definitely
they're serving
like a
porterhouse.
speakeasy. Yeah,
Yeah.
speakeasy
Somebody's
situation.
somebody's smoking.
So I'm just gonna. I'm
Somebody smoking.
Yeah.
That's not allowed, sir.
I'm gonna throw this out as far as the discussion of this movie. I have a feeling we are gonna this is gonna be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, kind of where we're kind of all over the place. Just because when you talk about this movie, I feel like we have to talk about the themes of a lot of scenes because and like what it could
You
mean.
can try to go
or whatever.
chronological.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna try to go chronological.
Of course.
I would
Okay.
actually really like to talk about the beginning of this movie.
That's where I was gonna start. So that's a great place.
Great.
Always
Wonderful.
great.
Yeah. What would you like to say about the beginning of the movie, Mike?
Okay, so it's,
Credits.
It starts off. It starts off obviously with Sam sitting down with Cherry, right?
You come home from a long day at the
Long
office.
day at the office.
He lives in a nice penthouse, right?
Yeah, he does live in a. I guess
Or is it a
whatever
penthouse?
we
I
He's
don't
call
a manager of a
whatever
recycling
this
joint.
future world is.
He
too.
has like he has a house in a city. It's a very weird.
It's
Oh
in
my
Anaheim.
God!
It's in
the
Anaheim.
Fucking, I'm just remembering this intro now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in his 3-wheeled
Yeah.
car.
Yep.
We got
Which those are
Right.
really popular now. Like people
Yeah, that
rent
is
those
funny.
to drive the shit like around downtown and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
So are we just talking about the intro in general right
Yes.
now?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so the thing that I appreciate, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but it felt like he had to drive through the year 1988 to get to the year 2017.
Sure.
Like that opening B-roll of him driving was like, there's zero attempt to make that futuristic, and then the house is just this really
that
bad
also-
little
That
backdrop.
also
Is that
kind of
to-
plays into the themes. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
First off, I want to say one thing. So every time I've seen this movie described, and I know there's like another half to this movie, right? They kind of describe it more like a Mad Max world,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: I felt like the first third of this film that exists in this Anaheim
Mm-hmm.
felt real cyberpunk to me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we
Right,
should say
like,
it's
there's-
2017.
It's
That's the
2017,
year we're in.
right.
And it's very. They're definitely going for a
There's
futuristic.
a lot of neon.
Dude, look at his whole fucking
Um,
apartment and like his
yes.
appliances and shit.
he
like
is
they're
doing
all
well
futuristic
for
looking.
himself.
Yeah.
Like, he
Yes.
is clearly very
money.
affluent.
Well, he's got
right?
enough money to have a cherry, which is apparently a very, very
Super,
rare.
Yeah, it's a hot
like,
item.
Well,
It's the hottest robot you could
Yeah.
ever own.
So kind of again, this kind of goes with setting up this universe and the themes of this movie and stuff like that. So, he pulls up he pulls up to the house, and we don't know that Cherry is a robot yet. When you're initially watching this, you don't.
You just think it's his
You
wife.
know
Well,
because
they're
you've read the
they're
fucking
playing it
synopsis on the
off
box.
like
No,
you don't
you're right.
know.
You're,
But if you
you're
were to
totally,
stroll into
you're,
this
you're
blind,
totally correct. I actually thought that when I was watching. I was like, they did a great job of selling that this is just a person.
they do give hints,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
They do give hints, and this first conversation he has with her at the table, like, I feel like there's like some, like, I think it's some of the best writing in the film.
it is.
Like, and yeah, there is this point where he talks about, like, guess what I learned today, and he's just like, what? I learned about like how things rust, and he's like, it's from like hydro something, and then she has this look on her face, like, oh, like she's worried, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes, well, I learned some stuff today, too. And she's like, what? What do these things have in common? And she's like Vaseline and this and that. And she's like, it's all made by Americans, right? And he looks at her and he smiles and he goes, which Americans made Vaseline? And she's blank, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now here's the thing.
Mhm.
Knowing later on that we find out that she's a robot, like,
Not much later.
not much later, right? Does anybody find it odd? Like, okay, maybe this does seem to exist in a world that maybe doesn't have like an internet,
no,
right?
there's
And
not.
now that we know AI, but wouldn't you think that robots would be like just
Encyclopedias of
Yeah,
information.
no.
right? Like,
no.
why?
No,
why
you gotta
wouldn't
pay
she,
extra for that.
Why would a robot forget anything?
she didn't forget.
She was never programmed.
She
to.
wasn't programmed for it. He's 100. That's what he's.
What do you mean she wasn't?
She
Programmed
wasn't.
for
So
it?
she was programmed to give you that
Programmed
answer, but she was
sex.
not She was not programmed to give any more detail to that question
Yeah.
How do you know that?
because she's
Yeah.
a robot.
Did
Like
they
that,
say
and it's
that
the-
somewhere?
Yeah, but do they say that?
No, but it's the fucking 80s, guys.
Okay,
Okay, I
Like-
mean, if that's the answer, I mean, maybe that's
Yeah,
true.
maybe
Maybe
it's
that's the
true.
case. Maybe they just don't Maybe whoever
Well,
wrote this
What
at the
Cody's
time
Cody's
didn't think
suggesting
about
exactly
that.
what I thought as well.
Wait,
I-
it also plays into the later themes of the movie
Yeah.
because she can only have limited responses because his whole thing is in the beginning of the film is like it's not fucking sexual. We have a real connection.
Sure.
He doesn't. It is sexual because she can only have a limited amount of conversations that she's programmed to
Right.
have.
Okay, I
And that's
understand.
what he ran into. And that's why she's like, oh, you ate a bite out of your sandwich. Let me clean it up and then go to sex because my programming doesn't know what to fucking do
Yeah,
next.
And that's why
Okay.
is that why a cherry is so special? Is because it's so like subservient.
And they
It's-
say it's sensitive
It's-
and it
it creates more of a realistic connection.
Okay.
Like the way it's programmed.
Okay,
Oh.
but oddly a discontinued model, which is really
Yeah.
weird.
well, so that
Um,
also brings me to
But I want to say
another thing.
Do you think that the rust thing is something?
no,
Ah.
no.
No,
Maybe I'm
what
reading
what
way too
what
much
I-
into this.
The way I read that scene was like she listened to him speak.
Right.
Okay.
He said his thing, and then she was like, "New program, next line, boop boop," and then she said her thing. Like it was
Okay.
just, it was like it reminded me a lot of Terminator 1 when like the guy comes to the door. You got something dead in there, and like you see his vision go through different options,
But
and he
why-
lands on "fuck
okay,
you,
but why-
asshole." Like
why-
that's exactly what I think she was doing.
Why is the next scene her going over to the sink and him asking what's
well,
wrong?
I also took that she was starting to malfunction in that very moment.
Okay, but see, that's what I'm saying. To me, and maybe I am reading too much into this, I took the rust thing because rust is the degradation of metal. It's the
Mhm.
Right.
destruction. It's the decomposing of
Sure.
something when it's
God
old.
damn.
I actually took this as she kind of knew,
And
like, I'm
Deep
kind of about,
AF.
I might break.
I'm not saying
What?
I'm not saying you're
okay,
wrong.
That's
I'm just
deep.
saying, maybe that's all I.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but then if she thought that, then why would she walk over to the fucking
I'm
sink?
just saying, dude.
But-
like, yeah, why were they so careless
Fair
to
enough.
begin with? If this thing is so fucking rare and so special, why
Well,
are you letting the sink
because-
overflow?
Okay, hold on. Oh, wait, hold on.
You got an answer for this?
That brings
don't
up
have an
a
answer for
really I thought the same thing, but okay. Did any of you think that when you're watching this that this scene, this interaction between him and Cherry
Mhm.
is a loop every single night? It's the same thing.
100%.
It's the same conversation
I
thing.
mean, it
she
could
does
be.
the same thing. She goes to the sink. The
Yep.
sink overflows. They toss around in the
What?
water and the
You
soapy
think like this is
suds and
his
stuff.
I did
fetish?
not. No.
Yes.
No, well, no. The only
And
reason
then-
why I
and
would
the
say
only reason
no.
it ended
he lost
was-
me at the suds. You lost me at the suds, but I agree with you up until that point. Everything else is a routine up into the suds.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, I mean, why? It's a robot, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it wouldn't
Well,
be doing new things.
Well,
it's,
what
it's
about this guy
programmed
tells
to
you
do
he's
what
doing everything the same every night? What I don't
Hold on,
understand. I didn't get
just
that from him.
Can you please give me a second? And because we're talking
Cody
about,
has been trying to talk.
we were
Sorry.
we're
Sorry.
fucking.
Sorry,
You're
sorry.
missing
So
like
sorry.
huge fucking shit too, like about
Huge.
this fucking society that you're missing, right? So
yeah.
we haven't got there yet because the scene isn't. We haven't got
Right.
the scene yet. But the guy works in a huge fucking recycling plant
Right.
that recycles 20th century technology.
Yes.
Because some border war that we find out later on when he throws it has a throwaway line about him being able to fly at the end of the movie.
Right.
Just to get him in that plane.
Right. So we had some sort of border war that he was a part of there. So and there was an economic collapse as well.
Yes.
Because
definitely.
everything is super fucking dirt cheap. And he is doing well, but you got people with shopping carts bringing him in to sell their recyclable electronics.
Yes.
So they're trying.
Very on the nose.
Right. So there is that. I'm guessing that is also why Cherry is so valuable.
Yeah,
is
definitely.
because it is like it's just like a show of thing. But I do think it is this. Yes, it's because of her limited responses and what she's able to do.
Mhm.
This is the connection that he gets when he gets home. Maybe it's a different conversation, but it always is going to end the same. And I think she was in her routine, right?
Yeah.
She's talking the conversation with him. He asked a question that she cannot answer. Her computer program goes to the next step. The next step is clean up after eating,
Yes,
then
100%.
sex.
100%.
And
Okay,
that's what it
gotcha.
was.
100%.
And she cut to sex, and somehow the dishwasher malfunctioned.
No, dude. I mean,
I'm not
that
gonna
shit
lie.
was over. There was basically 2 feet of water in that
That fucker
kitchen
gotta
before
clean
they.
that shit up
Yeah.
every time he
No.
has sex.
Can I be honest?
I'd be like,
I
can
don't
we
know. No, I don't
not-
think
hold
the
on.
dishwasher. I think this is the first time
Hold
the
on a
dishwasher
second.
malfunctioned.
Hold on a second. Though.
Okay.
I
Maybe.
did think that it would be because I mean, what else is that? He programs the robot. So he comes home, they have the routine, she destroys the kitchen, and then she cleans
be
it
like-
all up and it's
listen,
reset the
I
next.
think-
Why not? It's a robot. It's
I
just
think we're
following
all.
commands.
I think we're all spitballing
Maybe.
here because none of this is
Yeah.
explained. It could be very well that this
You're
is a
right.
routine that he does over and over
This
again.
is what we do at
or
Cold Film
that this
Review.
is a very new thing for him. I don't know, but I love all your guys' responses.
All I know is his level of concern for such a rare item was like 0
No,
to none.
Very low. Very low.
His level of concern. Okay, yes, and I agree with that. But also, I think that's because, and this kind of goes in with the technology aspect of it. And again, I'm reading so fucking deep into this, but that's because I think of what they're trying to say about technology and what we'll kind of get into the themes later is that like when you have your fucking phone, dude. Like when I first get my phone. You're right. I don't even fucking take it into the bathroom with me when I take a shower because I don't want the steam to get into the phone or whatever. Now I got my phone in my fucking shower
Yeah. Why?
with me because I play podcasts in there and I listen to it off my phone.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, as over time you get more relaxed with your
technologies,
your
yeah.
technology, you're still addicted to it. You're still addicted to the function, but you do get more careless with it.
Hmm.
You know, because you maybe
Yeah,
you get
you're
used to the
comfortable.
Take it for
reliability,
granted,
you
yeah.
get comfortable with it, or
Yeah.
the price point isn't as shocking as it first was.
Yeah, I could see that.
I also wondered if there was some sort of structural damage that made her. I feel like there's no way they would have made Cherry 2000 not waterproof.
I agree with you, and I
Something
think that,
must have opened.
I think she took on too much water, and that was the problem and why she short circuited out.
Also,
Like,
can I say another weird thing? And I think this has nothing to do with the movie. I don't think this was planned or anything like that. She actually has like a scar on
Yeah.
her arm,
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, from a standpoint,
Right.
if it was a robot, like
right.
But I think this is probably just the actress actually has a scar on her thing. But it
Sure.
did kind of like think like, wow, you could really read into that and say that maybe there's some structural damage going on.
Maybe
Yeah,
something
or
like,
maybe the main
over a
character
repair spot.
maybe the main character went through like a weird knife fetish.
But the,
Oh,
Cutting
no.
phase.
God, you're getting real dark,
Yeah.
man. I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
go here.
Robots, man.
so, anyways,
Robots.
how I kind of think of Cherry in our current times and where I think Cherry's kind of relatable is more on that I look at Cherry like I would look at my fucking cell phone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like how he is with her.
Well, that's how everyone is with sex robots in this world.
Right.
It's just
Everybody.
casual and normal, and it's like you got to get a real woman, and there's so many people who don't.
But
Yeah,
there's
very
reasons.
much.
There's reasons for that.
Yeah, let's get into
Yeah.
what happens after this
His
short.
his
well,
weird
yeah.
ass friends convince him
Oh,
to
Hold
go.
on, let's get into
No,
the
we're not
breakdown.
there yet,
I'm
Chris.
sorry.
Okay, you calm down. Okay? Last I checked, Chris wasn't hosting. Last I checked.
I didn't know you were taking the reins.
Been taking the reins for fucking 5
I
years,
didn't
6
know
years.
you were taking the ring.
So no, actually, what's next, Chris, is we go to the fucking repair shop with the creepiest repairman. We both know what it's really about, the romance.
Oh, that was the strangest
that
scene.
line.
I was like, God damn
But
that
I feel like it
delivery.
was supposed to be like that.
No, it's supposed to be
Whoa,
creepy.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec.
It's supposed to
we-
make you feel skeezy.
We breezed past one thing I wanted to point out,
Go
but I guess it will kind of it happens throughout the rest of the film. But the moment when Cherry short circuits Sparks
Mhm.
and he reacts to her basically no longer functioning was like, did anybody think that was just absolutely non-existent? It was like a cold face, just like
Yeah.
Cherry.
Yeah, I think that's a consistent
Cherry,
problem.
And
in
it's
this
throughout
movie.
the whole movie. It
Yeah.
happens where it's
With
like
all actors.
something happens and everyone's like, next scene.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a non-reaction.
I definitely don't. I don't think this
non-reaction.
is an acting or director
no.
choice. I actually think this might be a limitation of the
Kind
acting.
of disagree.
Okay.
Kind of disagree, and have to go to the end of the film to explain it.
Okay. Well, let's get to the.
let's
we'll
get through the movie
that
here.
later.
Well,
We'll come back to it.
I don't know if we
I'll
wanna
bring
get
it back
right
up
No,
later.
in.
can I
Sure.
Yeah,
just
just
to,
do
just to
it. You can
explain
put
it?
Let's go,
Because
buddy.
it does. It kind of you have to have the end of the film to kind of get this part of it right.
Okay.
It's nonchalant. It's almost as if he does not care that she breaks. Right.
Ooh,
It does seem that way.
Yeah.
Kind of comes off like
No, he does care.
he
There's no
cares.
fucking way.
He cares, but he's
Hold
not.
on.
He's not like Bisbee. No.
I think
You
he
know, like,
actually.
he's
no,
not.
no, no,
He didn't
no.
care as much as I cared.
He actually, I think, doesn't actually realize how rare it is until
No.
the guy
can
says,
I-
"You
can I-
realize how
can I
rare
tell you
this
something
is,
also?
right?"
Can I
And
tell
then
you
he's
something
all,
also?
Yeah.
I also think that, unlike human beings, which he knows that she is not one, right? He may just honestly think like, "Oh, let's go get her fixed."
Yeah, he's probably thought like
Well,
my
he-
my,
yeah.
my
Like,
car
I don't know
won't
what's
start.
wrong
He
here.
also
He
he
doesn't-
Take it
doesn't,
into
he doesn't look
mechanic.
at it like
He
that.
also
Yeah.
could be thinking that, but again, I think there is a line at the end of this film. You're making me do this, guys, with my arms.
That's a bad sign.
Whoa.
That
Uh-oh.
that
I
kind of
am Knuff.
that kind of says it. That kind of says it all, right? He flies back, asks Charity to get him a Pepsi, sends her out in a fucking middle of a gunfight in the middle of danger.
Yes.
Goes and gets Edith and throws her in the fucking plane, and they fly off. And what's he say to Edith?
She's
Yeah.
not real or something, or
yeah,
she's
I
just
know. Only
just a
robot.
robot.
I know that,
Yeah.
Just a
But
robot.
hold on. That goes completely
No, wait a minute,
against.
wait a minute. No. 'Cause
That's just the
that
art.
goes
hold
against
on, hold on, hold on.
characterization at the
We
end.
can't just jump to that because
Yeah, he
like
can't
he develops to that point. He's
Yes.
not like that from day one.
Right.
He's not
Right.
thinking that now. He's
Right.
thinking that.
He'll do anything
the
to
end
get a
of the
cherry.
No, I
Anything.
disagree. I think subconsciously he's thinking that.
He
He's
goes to
obsessed-
zone
He's
7
obsessed
to
to give
get
his
a
own
cherry.
life to do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he thinks this. He's in love with this robot. There's no
he is
doubt.
100%
At
in
this
love with
moment,
the robot.
Yeah.
I think he
Yes.
gets
Yes,
to
I
that
agree.
point.
We'll agree to disagree on this, but
Okay, that's fair enough.
But
Three
I
against one.
Yo, you can three
You're
against
wrong.
you can three against one me on this, but I say I love my phone, but if I lost my phone, like
Yeah,
really and
you'd
truly,
freak out.
I'm not gonna I'm gonna know like it's gonna be okay.
Yes,
It sounds like this is
I
a lot
get-
more rare than a phone.
Yes,
to
but
me.
It is more rare
hold
than a
on. I still gotta remind you. He still knows it's a robot. Like he still knows that like this is not like
Right.
someone dies and they don't come back. This is robots
That's-
break and you can.
But you
fix
just argued
robots.
that's not the perception he gives you in the beginning of the film.
Right. I don't think he realizes it until the guy tells him,
Yeah.
you realize how rare this is, right? And he's
I
like,
agree with that,
yeah.
I disagree with
Like,
that also.
I agree with that.
I
thi-
disagree with
his,
that
his
also.
But also, hold on a second. We're arguing about these.
We always argue about the semantics of a fucking film. That's
We're
why
ar-
people hate us.
we are arguing about the semantics here, but let's be honest. Like, I don't even think these were conscious decisions the actor made. I think the actor
That's
just
true.
did a trash
Oh man!
job.
I actually think this film is a lot deeper, and the director had a lot of things to say, and it was kind of fucking
director
I agree.
could.
awesome.
I agree that there's a lot of
Yeah.
messaging in
I
here.
can't,
Yeah.
I
It
can't
doesn't
argue.
change the
I
fact
just
that I
tried to
think the
say that
actor was
Cherry
terrible.
had some sort of internal fucking dilemma going on when she thought about Rust. So
Yeah.
I
So
certainly can't argue with you
I
there.
really truly do believe, like, yes, he's at the peak of his fucking addiction to the technology when she fucking dies. So I do believe in his mind, yes, this is like he's thinking at that moment, holy shit, oh my God, I lost my wife and all this stuff. But really, when you break it down to the end of it, and like in the end of the film, it's just a robot. He sends her out to get fucking murdered to get him a Pepsi in like a throwaway fucking line. So I'm saying that's kind of what the front of the film is setting up as well. It's just because we start getting the human connection. I will argue this. We will start getting the human connection. It's not the plot point because Melanie Griffith's so fucking great that he falls in love with her.
She's pretty great.
She's pretty great, but that's
She's
not
pretty
it.
great.
I don't think that's necessarily it. If you notice, he falls more and more in love with her the farther and farther they get away from fucking technology.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I think that's called character arc.
Yeah.
I also think it's saying something about addiction to, about he's losing his addiction to the device, realizing that it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, but we're not
Yeah,
talking
but-
about what happens then. We're talking about what happening now.
Yes, he's still yes, but I'm saying that is all lead up to being.
Okay. I will agree with you that
Yeah,
knowing what we know about, I can't believe we're talking about the end of the film. Knowing what we know about the end of the film and how this ends, that it's clear that the point that the director and the writer were trying to make is that whatever he was feeling now was not really love,
Right.
Right.
but he thinks it's love.
Right.
Yeah. But did you? But this is jumping ahead, and I think what solidifies.
Jumping ahead.
Or, dude,
Yeah,
we already
right,
at the end.
I
We got to the
Maybe-
end of the film.
Maybe we should swing back into where he.
We are.
Yeah.
We are going
Let's
to
do that.
We will.
Let's do that. Let's get. Let's.
That
take
was
it
part of my. But that
chronological.
was part. No, we are still keeping it chronological. This is part of my point. I had to bring that up to say.
No,
I
I
brought us
understand.
up,
I
yeah.
understand. Okay.
I brought us here.
I'm not.
And he's addicted to it. Like it's
I
also
just
he's
don't-
addicted to a brand. Let's
Hold on
also
a sec.
bring that up with the consumerism of that.
Yeah, he's addicted to a model.
I just
don't know
thought
what
I struggled
company
like
made
in
her.
1988 or 1987 or 1986 rather. Like, is there really this big concern of
Yes.
our technological devices taking
Yeah.
over?
Yes, Nintendo
There-
was a huge fucking thing for parents.
Well, I don't think that. I was actually going to go with the fact that, like, in the 80s, like, people were really worried about their jobs being taken by, like, automation.
That as well.
Ah.
Oh, here
But-
we are
but
again.
Again, getting very deep here.
Yeah,
for
but
a movie
also-
that probably maybe not
very
being think about
topical
this, but
film,
yeah.
too.
Yeah,
my
right.
point with like the
Lot of
Nintendo thing
parallels.
is like parents were afraid that their kids were going to get addicted to video games
I
and
would-
they were going
I
to
would
lose
be- I would be
catch
very
reality.
surprised if the director or the writer was just like, I need to talk about this addiction that kids have to Nintendo.
No, I don't think that was it.
Yeah.
But I was saying in society, it was yes a thing
Again,
that was present.
why I
Yeah.
think I will say this. Why I felt like this, especially this first like quarter of the film, right, really felt like a cyberpunk feel to me. Is that this shows a very corporatized,
Mhm.
very marketed world,
Yes.
right? I'd love when we get into the bar.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about even more about this, but it kind of turns into once they get into the wasteland area. You're right. I think that once he starts getting away from that world,
Mhm.
he's forced to have to deal with people and not just
Well,
this kind of facade and bought
Well,
world that he's
it
created
says-
because he has the resources to do so.
so he goes to well, let's just get over this part so we can go to the
Yeah.
fuck.
Sure.
Let's
The
just do it.
the
We actually
glue-
should
the,
actually get to the end
the
of the
glue
film.
The Glue Glue Club,
The
yeah,
Glue
that
Glue
everybody
Club.
wants to talk about.
which is a prostitute club, right?
No,
No,
not at all.
I don't
Oh,
think
it's
it
not?
is.
No.
I'd love to talk about
Why
There-
it.
did
I
they-
can
why
explain
did
this-
they get that impression?
Because Lawrence Fishburne was negotiating contracts.
I can
for
explain
sex.
this. Actually, I can
Gotcha.
explain that whole scene. But anyways, so yes, he goes to get it repaired. The repair guy says, "Listen, you can't repair her. She's unrepairable. But hey, you still got the disc. You still got her memories, and that's really valuable
Yeah.
because of the model. He already knows that he works in a fucking recycling plant. He knows how valuable Cherry is.
Sure.
I don't believe that he didn't know how valuable it was just because of the job that he holds."
Hmm.
And he says he knows how valuable it is when he says, "You know how valuable this is?" And he's like, "Yeah, I fucking know how valuable this is."
Yeah.
And
Again, just bad acting.
the way they're handling that
Bad
little
acting.
disc,
It's just bad acting.
That doesn't tell me.
yeah.
that.
Oh, remember when like little discs
it's all scratched.
were going to
up
be
and
like the
shit.
future?
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Mini discs.
Well,
yeah.
we had GameCube discs. That was
Yeah,
like, that
that
was the closest
thing we got.
I think.
To that.
Maybe
I think you could shoot
PSP.
video on those little discs too for a while.
You could.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
There
But-
was video games came on those little discs as well for computer.
So So he goes and looks at other models and decides, no, I just want a Cherry.
Right.
And then that's it. And then the next day,
Okay, wait. So when he's at the club, when
We're
he's
going
at
to
the
work.
Glue Glue Club, he's looking for another model.
No.
No, not at all.
No,
That's
let-
when
now
he's
let me
still,
get to that. I'm
he's
getting
still,
that.
he's still at the repair shop.
Okay,
He
got
says
it.
it can't be fixed. And the guy's like,
when
"Let
he's
me
getting the
show
tour
you."
in there,
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
So we go back. We cut
murder
to
ride.
We cut,
that's what it is.
we cut back to his work. He's walking down the ramp as people are bringing in recycling to sell, obviously, to this company. And two people pop, which I figured were in line, but they're not. They work there. Pop out of line. They look like characters from Beetlejuice. This was like the first.
They confuse the shit out
that
of
was
me,
the
man.
they look the weirdest.
Why did they confuse you?
Because I'm taking it that
The way they're acting towards him, I didn't understand why
What?
they were being the way they were being.
What do you mean? I just took it as they were coworkers.
No, they were acting
They're very
almost
weird.
robotic in their own right.
Okay,
and I was
this
like,
is the
what
thing that I
deal
will say
here?
throughout this entire film. I find myself questioning whether this person is real or if this person is also a robot.
Yeah, and I really felt like they were trying to make you wonder if these two characters were robots because of specifically the way they were communicating with him, which was, come out with us. You know you want to come out with us. Come on, just 10 minutes, 5
So,
minutes, 8 minutes. Let's go. Come on,
guys,
let's do
not,
it.
They're
Like,
not robots, but
definitely-
yes, I agree. The way that they
Yeah.
deliver their lines, the way they look.
it's the vibe I got.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is a vibe.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way. I do not think we're living in Blade Runner world where
No.
people don't know who the robots are. I think we know who the robots are. I think everybody knows models of robots.
Yep.
I think everybody I mean, again, not to jump ahead, but he just says like, you got any cherries here?
Yeah.
Everybody knows what a cherry
Right.
is.
Yeah,
Right.
they're
So
like,
if you
"Oh."
have a partner and it's a cherry, people are gonna be like, oh yeah, it's just like anybody knows what like a Nintendo looks like.
right.
Yeah.
You know?
So the coworkers obviously know that Cherry has passed.
Yeah.
And they are inviting him out to the Glue Glue Club to meet
Right.
real women.
Yes.
To go out and meet real women.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into the Glue Glue Club, one thing I did want to bring up that there is a powerful scene
Powerful.
Powerful scene.
Powerful. Oh my
For me
God.
at least.
Impactful.
because it's fucking creepy as shit.
Let's
Is
do
that
it.
after the repair thing, he does take Cherry home and put her in bed
Yeah.
and lay next to what would be perceived as her dead body.
Yep, yep. And he listens to her voice on the
Yeah.
little recorder that
Yes.
he carries
Yep.
around.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
It's
part.
Yeah,
creepy.
He does. He
Remember that
sits.
scene.
He sits in the bed with her
And
he kinda-
pines while she
yeah.
deadly sits there.
I did. I
Yeah.
did find it mildly uncomfortable how often he was just replaying fucking
Oh, we'll
sex
get-
moments. Like
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We'll get into
dude.
that, brother. You don't have any
But I
headphones?
think that also talks that plays a lot into what Cody's point was the fact that he keeps listening to like the sex parts of it. Like that was his addiction, you know,
Mhm.
was the sex.
So, and he argues it throughout the whole film with Edith.
Mhm.
So we now we're at the Goo Goo Club and they're walking in and it's kind of a fucking madhouse, but you kind of, as it's panning around, you get the impression that one person says like, "Hey, I want tongue and kissing," and the other person says, "I'll sue your fucking ass off
Right.
if you do that."
Yeah.
And that's kind of, you're like, okay, so lawyers are involved in creating these relationships at a bar. So if you're in this time period in 2017,
Right.
and Chris, you wanted to approach a woman at a bar, you would then have to have a legal contract with her that night of what you guys were going to do
Yeah.
for that relationship.
And these
to
are
work.
not prostitutes.
No,
These
and
are not
this is
prostitutes.
why I will say
Okay.
that why, because I thought the same thing, right? At first,
Yeah.
was just like, is this like sex work? I go,
Because
like,
she's
it's
showing
not
a video
really.
of her having
Right.
sex with another
That's
man.
her Tinder.
Here's what I actually,
Interesting.
to a degree, yeah. What I actually think this is, honestly, is a world that is so hyper, I guess I say capitalistic, but like, you know, it's
No,
so
you're right.
corporatized, it's so marketed,
Yeah.
right? That even sexual encounters have been commoditized, right? Like
100%.
no, but not only are the women a commodity, but you are also a commodity, right? So when two people have to want to have a one night stand,
There's a
it
middleman.
has to be like bargained for,
Right,
just like you
yes.
would bargain for a product.
Which I mean,
Sex is-
knowing that information, then you
Yeah.
think of the allure of a Cherry 2000, and it's like, oh, I don't know how to deal with all the legalese.
Right, and I
Ah,
also think that maybe it is a response to that too, right?
Mhm.
Like I do
Yeah.
think that it's just like, hey, well, anybody can go out and just get a robot to have sex with or
Right.
whatever. I guess
Well,
to some
I
degree,
was reading the
real human connection has been something that is maybe I don't
Well,
know
it
how to
said
be
it-
prized and valued
Was
more
it on?
in a way.
Was it?
No,
It might have been
more
Wiki.
risky?
It might have
I
been
don't know.
Wikipedia, but one of them kind of described it as like a world where yeah, the commodity or intimacy is basically
Gone.
has vanished
Yep.
Yes.
from human
Yeah,
life.
it's just what can I
Look
buy
at the
for
world
the
they
price,
live in.
and everyone is looking at each other as a product.
right. Yeah.
Well, and it's bureaucracy, I guess is what you would
Yeah.
call it, as far as how the thing is gone. And like the girl who shows like the sex tape video of her and Steve. I think that's Steve. And it is Steve.
She got mad. She got mad.
She got mad because he did not show his in return, which is basically like, hey, it's like a Tinder. It's basically like, do you like what you see? Let me see what yours is. Let me see your stats.
Well, she's mad because he doesn't have anything to purchase.
He doesn't. Well, he doesn't have anything.
He's not there to buy anything.
He's not there to show off.
Right, so it's like going into a Porsche
I don't wanna
dealership,
say-
and then the seller being
You
like,
wasted my time.
"What do you mean?
Right.
You're wasting my fucking time, dude.
I don't
want to
say buy
a car?"
anything because that does buy into the prostitute thing, and they're
No,
just
no,
regular ass. This
I
is
ju-
regular ass people.
No, I just think that what I'm saying is I think that club has a specific purpose, and if you go there and you're not like part of doing anything, you're just wasting everyone's time.
Yeah, no,
Right.
that's true.
Yeah.
No, and that's because again, intimacy is out the window. But it's also it's kind of like that is the corporate. That is what I think the director, set designer, like all these people are trying to say is that this corporate world is void of intimacy. Not only with the humans, because he goes to try to meet human women. It's all this bureaucracy. It's get mad at you for this. There's really no connection. There's nothing there. He's really getting that at home with Cherry too.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no intimacy there either. He is searching for intimacy this whole journey.
Well, yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah.
This whole journey. He thinks he has it with Cherry, but he doesn't really understand what intimacy is, because you think at least at this point, you think he hasn't had a relationship with a real woman.
He has.
Turns out that's not true. He does.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. He does have it really, which my favorite character. We'll
Yeah,
get
that's
that
why I
later.
kind of took it as
Yeah,
him
I
going
agree.
with the Cherry was more or less like somebody who just was done trying to
I
do it in real life,
But-
and
but
just
I
I got the robot. This is easy.
But
This
I-
is simple.
yeah.
But he's not the only person in this world that's doing
No,
this.
that's-
No,
I
absolutely
want to
not.
say
That's
that
why
this
it's a normal
almost
thing.
seemed like it was. Yeah, you're right. Like it
Well-
was the norm, and
Well, it's the norm
Don't they
for
show
some.
that at the hotel, right? Like when he
Yeah.
goes to the
Yeah.
hotel.
they have robots there. Like,
Yeah, one of them is throwing it out in
malfunctioning.
the
yeah,
hall
it's
because
so-
it's not
and they're
working.
Just like fucking yeah.
So we get these intercuts to where the robot repairman's like, I found a tracker for you who will go to Zone 7 and get a Cherry 2000. They're out there. They'll get you one for you.
Yeah.
And he decides after the club, fuck this. Like, I need to feel loved again, and I'm gonna go risk my life to get this robot that made me feel loved. Because he's listening to her voice. I think this is probably where he's listening
Yeah.
to her voice in
Yeah,
bed with a
yeah.
dead body.
This whole this whole scene, I don't know if it was a montage, but I feel like I blinked and he was in
glory hole. He was in
glory hole. I
glory
was
hole?
like,
yeah, it
It,
was.
it is a very quick
like,
transition
what the
is.
fuck
from
just
him to Glory
happened?
Hole.
Like because I made a joke to Sammy because I paused it and I was like, we're at 14 minutes in and they're already doing flashbacks of the first 13 minutes of the movie.
yeah. And
Already we're recapping what happened.
let me just also
Like,
say that I feel like this is a weird like plot hole a little bit. Is that like I don't understand why a man of such resources as Sam here like had to go meet the person. I understand he learns
there's
when
no
he-
internet in this world.
Yeah.
There's no phones though too.
No, there is. You see them in the background. So here's the thing. I wonder if there is internet and it's
Why would he
limited because you see
call?
phones in the background. The set design, I will say, I love the set design in this movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's the computers with fucking like it looks like it's a phone with a keyboard and a screen,
Yeah.
and it looks like what you would expect from an '80s movie depicting what the future will be.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like the thing I find odd is that
They don't have Wi-Fi.
he makes his way all the way to meet this person to pay her.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some other plot holes that I want to get into when we
Well,
get into it.
wait,
but like
Paul
I
makes
just
his way. It's not really like a big journey. Like he just happened to get caught up in some shit on his way,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like he,
just drove
couldn't
to
go
Glory
find
Hole.
E. Johnson.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but like why did he go
What do you-
go physically to go see
What,
Johnson? Why
how
did he
else would he
call-
hire her?
Because
call her on the
Oh,
phone?
is he gonna just wire her money? Like, I
No,
do you-
Yes.
how many how many trackers do you think have a
Because-
fucking cash app?
because you can't trust
know?
you can't trust the person to bring you the robot.
Right.
Or Cherry. You will like if he's his thing is his infatuation with this. He's so addicted to it. He's got to be there
Yeah.
to get it first. Like
Okay.
when it's there, he's got to be
I
there.
didn't get that. I got that as I got serious Rick Moranis Streets of Fire vibes.
I got a
He
lot of Streets
he
of Fire
showed up.
vibes.
He
All right.
showed up and he said, I need you to do this job. All right, I'll do the job, but you're coming with me. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like, why the fuck am
that's
I
definitely
going with
how
you?
it played out.
And
I
she's
just
like,
thought it was
because
weird
I
to
can't
do that in the
move on
future.
my own.
I just thought that was weird to do that in the future. I just thought that like
Why?
Like he had to actually go on
because
this like
honestly,
excursion.
if I was gonna call somebody or if I wanted I
I gotta
don't
lean
know.
this way so I can see you.
To me, it feels like a big risk for him to go into this
Obviously.
place.
But
that
he's
they said,
obsessed with this
That's
thing.
a dangerous place. Don't go there.
Mhm.
And he's just like, I'm gonna go there, and
It's
he
worth it.
physically goes
Addiction.
there. I just feel like
Right.
why didn't he call her first?
What? Okay, like let's say this.
Who has the phone?
E. Johnson does. Yeah, I was gonna say E. Johnson doesn't look like she has a phone in
I
her
don't think
place.
she
I
has a
don't
fucking
recall
landline.
any
You know
phones.
what? You might be right. You might be right.
Yeah.
It might be one of these things where, like, yeah, the wastelands they ain't got no fucking phones out there.
Yeah.
feel like
Maybe
it
that's
went,
true.
It went
I
like
don't know.
this.
Because-
it went like this. The dealer said, "We located a Cherry 2000. There's one that's located in Zone 7. You'll need to
Right.
go to Glory Hole and find yourself a tracker who can take you
Correct.
into there so you can collect your thing."
Okay.
And
okay,
he was
all right.
like, "Okay, that's what I have to do. I have to go to Glory Hole. I have to find a tracker because this is an
He's looking for
unsavory fellows.
Six Finger
They're not.
Jake, by the way.
They're not
or
on.
He is
They're
looking
not
for
on
No, he's
websites. They don't
looking-
have phone numbers. You know
He's
what I mean?
not?
Like he's got to
Nope.
go there.
He's looking for E. Johnson.
And then E.
Yeah,
Johnson
and
says,
then-
so
yeah.
so he's looking. So here's how it goes, Chris. He
Okay,
sh-
let's say he gets there.
he gets to Glory
He
Hole,
gets
which
there.
two of my favorite things about getting to Glory Hole real quick
Get in
is
Glory Hole.
getting to Glory Hole is the signs.
Yep.
Okay, the sign saying is it 10 miles to Glory Hole, and then 5 miles after that is the end
No
of all.
man's land or
No, it's
something.
like end of all laws.
Or
Yeah.
end of civilization.
Law
Yeah,
rules.
yeah.
Something about the
Yeah,
laws.
Yeah.
It's,
So this is
uh,
like a neutral zone. Well, not quite
Basically,
a
kinda.
neutral
it's
zone,
the-
but
it's
a rough area.
it's
but
5
not,
miles away from
not as bad as it's about to get.
the lawless
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah, right.
And so that's like one of my favorite parts is that. And then when he gets in there and he pulls into the fucking hotel, who the fuck is there but Maniac Cop?
Oh, dude, I called that shit out right away. I was like, is that fucking Robert Zadar? Like, who
Yeah.
else looks like that? Like-
Him.
and then sure enough, credits rolling.
Pretty
there he is.
incredible. Yeah, he's just sitting there.
Didn't
I love
recognize
it.
him. Don't
I
know who
loved
that
it.
is.
Can
Maniac
I also
Cop?
tell you
Maniac
what?
Cop.
Never seen
I
it.
want to talk about.
I'm pretty sure we reviewed Maniac Cop.
No,
No,
we
we did
didn't.
not.
We
We've
did not?
not done
Maniac Cop.
any of the Maniac
Nope.
Cops.
Oh man, I just watched it by
Might wanna
myself and
have to
reviewed
think
it in
about
my head.
I want to say something else I like about the costuming here. So like he goes from like a very yuppie-ish kind of
Yep.
like thing, and then-
Anaheim.
but when he gets to this
Anaheim.
area, everybody's dressed in like weird ass fucking things. It's like a mix,
Futuristic
It's a
Western.
mismatch of
Futuristic
old
Western.
West shit,
Mhm.
right?
It's very Western.
And like weird kind of like Hawaiian kind of like I'm on a vacation
Yep.
thing.
So-
Yeah.
But you gotta
and-
think this is like a border town.
That's well, hold on.
realistically, you know.
I guess we're
The-
calling that. It's like kind of like a Rocky
It pretty
Point.
much kind of is.
Yeah.
Like
The safari outfits are part of Lester's cult. Everybody else is
Yeah.
dressed.
Sure.
Everybody
Right.
else is dressed like they're in a fucking western.
I call that the Beach
But
Boys.
no,
No,
like,
no, no, no. But he's not. What's his name is not the one. The Maniac Cop guy.
yeah, because he's in the cult. He's in the cult.
yeah, that's
Does he end
right.
up being
He's
in the
wearing a
cult?
little.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's why he's.
Oh, I
in the
never
cult.
caught- I
Oh my
didn't
god, I
catch
didn't
that.
catch that. Oh my god.
He's in the cult. Everybody else is
Okay.
dressed like in a futuristic let me say this. 80s futuristic
Yeah,
um
their
Western.
perception. Yeah.
There's some
yeah.
weird shit too, like a cat in a water.
dude, how they
giant
get the
water
cat in the
bottle.
water jug
I don't know. I think that's part of the thing. I mean, obviously, I
Magic.
think that they just probably put it in,
over him.
Yeah,
But it
over
doesn't-
him.
The way
But
they cut it was
what
perfect.
a weird thing.
I really
Yeah.
feel like once you enter this hotel,
Glory hole.
Glory Hole, like
the Glory Hole Hotel.
the set design really does start to shine.
Yes,
because
agree.
like you're starting to see like the pops of color and like the pink fucking what was it cash register,
The
and,
VR
like,
headset that
yeah.
Chins was on.
Yeah.
Chins.
Yeah, they really have like a kind of a moment to sort of make that like I mean I don't know I definitely we just joked about Streets of Fire but that like hyper realistic or what do they call it, that unrealistic reality or
I actually think-
something,
I
like
actually
hyper
think
reality or some shit.
The set design is like what they pulled off in the set design in this movie is more or less what they were trying to pull off in Streets of Fire. Like a little like I feel like this movie kind of
No, there's no way. Streets of Fire, I think, had way more of a budget than this.
Oh,
Right?
This
I-
was 10 million, wasn't it?
yeah, but I think this one
Streets of Fire was 20.
this one sets up this one
what I'm
kind of
saying,
sets
double.
up I feel like this one just kind of sets up the universe better.
Oh, I'm not saying. Yeah, I
And,
think
like,
it does a better job.
That's what I
Yeah.
like about and the blend of the 80s with the futuristic stuff and like also post-apocalyptic is so well done. Like I don't question
Yeah.
anything in this movie.
Hmm.
I'm just like,
No,
yeah, it kind of
yeah.
all makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like I was
Like-
kind of along
The
for
only
the
thing I
ride.
questioned again was at the end, and
Yeah.
that's the robot factory, and we'll get it.
Yeah.
Why that's in a casino?
Yeah,
I don't
Pharaohs,
know.
why is that in
I
there?
will say, like, I did feel again. This was a still very like a cyberpunky thing for me, especially like Shadowrunny kind of like because like people in Shadowrun are
Yeah.
just like there's like Japanese influence and all kinds of stuff in that whole world. It's just very interesting how different people are dressed in this. I gotta say the costume designer must have had a blast.
Yeah,
For real.
no
Like,
rules.
like yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
I'm gonna dress this dude up like he's leaving Las Vegas. This guy over here is gonna be in a sombrero and a poncho.
Yeah,
This
Yep.
guy over here is gonna be a cowboy.
With a clear jacket.
was-
Yeah.
I feel like the goal was to juxtapose as much as you
Yeah.
could, you
Yeah.
know. So, and honestly, like, but not in a sloppy way. It was done in a
No.
thoughtful
Oh,
way.
I definitely felt like I was in a different, and you can see there is a huge difference between how people in Anaheim dress
Right.
and how people in this area
Yeah,
dress.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the outskirts in a rougher part. I mean, he's carrying a shotgun around.
He's
you know,
got-
he's
it-
worried.
it-
like,
him in this town had real Pace Picante vibes.
Yeah.
New York City.
I mean, yeah, when he says it,
Yeah.
yeah, when he says Anaheim. So at this point, he doesn't know that E. Johnson is a lady.
Correct.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
So he goes and sees E. Johnson.
not before getting fucking taken by two dorks.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in the back alley or whatever, right?
Well,
And then he
no,
just
that's-
walks-
no,
that's not yet.
Yeah, first he goes and he meets E.
Oh,
Johnson.
and he goes
Right, and
yeah.
Then he goes
he's,
to the bar.
he's
He
very
says,
turned off
"Woman,
on that.
no."
So glad to see that misogyny's still alive and well in
Which is-
2017.
Which is
Uh,
it will because you don't need women. You have sex robots.
Yeah, but it's still he's not turning her down because he doesn't need her for sex. He's turning her down because he doesn't think he's a competent tracker.
No,
based
it's
'cause
totally
she's a girl.
misogyny for
Yeah.
sure. It had
Oh,
nothing,
no,
to, do
I'm
with,
not-
nothing to do with sex bots. In
So he
that
ends up
scene.
leaving. That quickly shifts, but yeah, he
ends up leaving to go get because she recommends Six Finger Jake,
right.
and then he gets that
Okay,
whole
yeah.
incident where he almost
That's
gets robbed happen, and then he walks back to her. It's like, I guess you'll do because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, 'cause I
Yeah.
almost got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get into
So he hires E. Johnson.
he hires
Yes.
E. Johnson.
Not before seeing her silhouette, sexy silhouette.
yeah, she just comes out,
Sexy Silhouettes should be the name of this movie. Silhouettes 2000.
Just sex on wheels, man.
PG-13 is what you
Like,
can you can get away with.
So that's there. I don't know. There's some crazy stuff with this movie. Like that Molly Ringwald haircut they gave her.
yeah.
It's a good. Yeah, that's a
Uh,
good
I
comparison.
mean, I like it for the film. I don't think it's like something that's
It
like
did not
gonna make
hel-
a comeback.
Yeah, I didn't like.
Look, it didn't look terrible,
I
but
didn't think it was
like,
terrible.
I mean,
Also, I read in trivia that they were gonna film this movie in September. She was pregnant, and they said like, if you don't have the fucking baby by September, we're moving on. We're going to another.
you better have that fucking baby.
Yeah, she had the baby. She had the. I read this.
God.
So she had gone through labor like shortly before
3
this film
weeks.
started.
3 weeks
Before?
before the 3 weeks.
The biggest problem I have with Melanie Griffith in any fucking movie I see her in, like, she has an alluring look. Like, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, and she even has like a naturalness to like the rhythm of her acting.
Yeah.
The problem is her voice. Like, her
Yeah,
voice
but that's like
is.
that, you could say the same thing about like Kathleen Turner or somebody else who has like a very distinct voice. I actually don't have
It's
a
not that
problem
it's distinct.
with
It's
that.
just like I think, and it especially shows in this movie. It's like there's not a lot of range like with Melanie Griffith.
I agree-
I
I'd agree
I
with
get
that.
it, but I think that she brings
100%.
a lot of other
I thought
things,
most of
and I
her
think she's
reads
just really I don't know.
most of the
enticing.
lines she read in this movie felt just kind of like reading it off the script, reading it off the paper. Like it just lacked a
Dude,
little bit of depth, and
it was so.
That's
flat,
everybody's.
dude. It
That's
was so
everybody's
fucking
lines.
flat.
It's not
Melanie
just
Griffith
hers.
as a trucker supposed to be this badass character was
Yeah.
so fucking flat.
It was so flat.
So let's
Okay.
we're still in the we haven't even moved on to fucking
I mean, we
actors
can
yet.
just
I didn't
fucking
think
go
so.
wherever we
I
want.
thought she was
Just-
all
That
right.
doesn't mean I didn't like her in the movie,
I
but
do-
like her acting was really just like
I don't think strong performances are always necessary for me to
it
be.
is if
to
it's supposed to be this like
fantastic.
intense action thing,
Yeah.
and it's like you're not
Okay.
playing it that way at
It
all.
kind of gave me Pam Anderson and
and barbed wire,
barbed wire vibes.
scene. Okay, all right.
So
I think she's much better than Pam Anderson.
at this point in the movie, when he decides to go with Edith again, a woman named Edith in
We're
2017.
still here. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because we're about to be introduced to the fucking third main character,
Yes.
which is that fucking '65 Mustang.
Yeah, that's a
Oh.
badass. It's a badass.
That is the next character, and I would say that's the closest thing that we get to Mad Max in this movie.
Yeah,
Besides
sure.
it's a post-apocalyptic, just in sayings.
All right, so he goes and he hires E. Johnson.
So we we get in the car though, and
Yeah,
this thing
she pulls the cover off, and you're like, "Whoa, I want that fucking car."
This thing is I don't even know how to explain this car. It's a
Giant tires.
It's a rocket car.
It's a beast.
Is it a rocket? What the fuck is it?
It felt like
It's got more
It's a
switches.
Mustang.
The way she was like powering it up
Yeah.
with the
Is it a
throttle
plane?
was like made me feel like there was like a fucking jet
Yeah.
engine fucking
Yeah, she's
landing.
got she
slamming
got
in
NOS
that
in
thing.
Future
it. She got NOS
technology
in
and
it,
shit.
just like Fast and
the
Furious.
whole
Just
thing
like
is no. There's no gas pedal. She
like
pulls a
Dom.
lever
Yeah,
back
she
and it
pulls the-
goes.
she
And then
pulls the
she presses
e-brake. Yeah.
presses a button and it just launches.
yeah.
No,
this is
it's
a
supposed to
rocket
look like a
on,
fucking plane
wheels.
in there, dude. Like they show you like
Yeah.
the console, it's all lit
Oh,
up
it
with
looks
the
like a
green
plane
lights
there.
and
Doesn't
it's
she
just-
say, doesn't
hey,
she say
can I
something
ask
like
a
"Don't
question?
touch this"?
Yes.
It says no. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Like, did anybody notice like the use of the green and the red lighting, like in the
Mhm.
car specifically?
Okay.
Does anybody? Is there like a philosophy
No,
to
it's
that?
no.
or
I don't think there's a
anything?
philosophy
Like
to
his
it. But those are
Christmas thing?
screens in the car that just are red and green the whole time.
But it
Well,
switches sides. Like at first it shows her in red and him in green, and then eventually it shows him in red and her in green.
Maybe that's like
There-
I'll have to go back and watch it. But
All-
maybe the director's trying to say something about if they're
That's what I'm
stop and go
saying.
in the
Yeah.
relationship.
I gotta
don't
say,
know, yeah.
Wow.
this film could have been completely phoned in. We have found so many things we've deeply read into.
Yeah.
Just like, what do you think about the cinematography?
I'm gonna be honest.
What does
with
it mean to switch from green to
the
red?
the car ended up honestly like being kind of disappointment for me.
Stop.
It's so
What?
badass, but it
The
is
interior.
utilized so sparingly, and the way it's shot
Okay,
is just
fair
this
enough.
lands and feels so flat.
Well-
The edit is just like meh, okay,
Kyle,
whatever.
this
Like
could be-
I love car movies. I love movies that feature cool fucking cars.
Let's go on the car journey.
And like this one is just like okay, whatever.
So
It was
Could be a
over and done
budget
with so
reason
fast.
here. You
Yeah.
know, there could be budget.
we'll get it.
10
We'll,
million.
we'll get into it here.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
What's the
So
budget problem?
they jet out of fucking glory hole again. Another great sign. Thanks for leaving glory hole. Drive safely.
Yeah.
It's fucking hysterical. And they
Blow
head
out
out.
of there,
they
yeah.
head out into the wasteland and they start going on this journey.
Towards
First they have
the
to get
graveyard.
through. First they have to get through a barricade, which is just bored people looking for action that they have a Wild West shootout in a car
Yeah.
with. Fucking
What-
badass.
You know what I love about the barricade is that they've also left a path that's clear that she can navigate through fairly
Yeah.
easily.
I mean, she had
There
hits
wasn't
and
a lot
turns.
of
And-
swerving she was
I'd also
doing.
like to note that she makes a point at some point in time to say that she's done this run many times.
Right.
Yeah.
At some point in time, they'd be like, "Oh, fuck, E. Johnson's back.
Well-
All right, are we just
Well,
gonna
that
let her
car.
shoot
But
us now?"
I don't
or-
understand. Like if she's done this run multiple times, why haven't they fucking when they added supports? They
Yeah,
haven't
exactly. They
reinforced.
know her
Tell me about it.
tricks.
Why didn't they just give up and let her through? And be like,
Also-
she wins every time.
Yeah.
Just let her
Just die,
through. You see
okay?
that fucking car, you just turn the other way.
Like, just go.
I would. She's
Yeah.
had to have made the successful run how many times?
Well,
at
they
this
fucking
point?
I
blow
watched
into
5
there,
friends
right?
die in the
I have a
last
question.
month
I have a-
because fucking
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not
E's
fucking
got to get
with
out to
E.
the
Johnson ever again.
I have a question for all of you.
Yes.
Because I want to know if you guys have ever done this before. I know I have,
Yeah.
and it's something that's brought up in the film. How often do you guys drive by feel? I drive by feel.
Everybody has to drive by feel.
I drive by feel at night with
If
no
you don't
lights
want to
on.
be caught,
All
if you
the
don't want
time.
to be
that part,
seen.
oh no, that part was actually insane to me.
Yeah, she's driving through the dark, and he's like, "Are you gonna turn the headlights on?" And she's like, "I drive by feel." What?
It's
I
because
mean,
she doesn't
look-
want to be seen.
But
man.
yeah, she has a reason,
Actually,
but yeah.
I was pretty accepting of her reasoning for that.
Yeah.
because
She's
she
badass.
says
This is
that
a cool
like
answer.
I grew up here in this town. I grew up in this shitty part of town. Like, so if anybody's going to be kind of familiar with the territory and the route to go, it's probably going to be
Especially if
her.
she's done it a million times.
And if
or
she's
whatever
done it a
is.
million times, then she knows that if she keeps her headlights off, she has a better chance of making it through
Exactly.
than if she's a fucking lit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was
target.
that part was believable for Kyle.
And
was
Chris.
believable for Kyle. So they get through the barricade, and what's the first thing they got to do? They got to take a break.
They take
need-
a lot of breaks.
They got to take a break.
They do.
The
This
Edith's-
is a long. This is more than a day trip.
Yes. Edith's
It's a
got to
many
get
day trip.
Edith's got to get some rest, even though that
Much like Streets of Fire, I also felt like I couldn't wrap my head around how far they were going to this other
It
place.
said 8 hours.
Yeah,
It
it's
said 8
But they
hours.
have to take-
way
they
longer
took
than
like
that.
2
No,
naps.
Yeah,
no,
it
they
did.
have to take detours, and that's
It takes
that's
way
why.
longer.
Can I tell you something? If he lives in Anaheim, I'm wondering where this area is in California.
8
This is-
hours somewhere.
This is in Vegas. He left from Anaheim
Yeah,
to Vegas.
there you
Okay,
go.
so they're going to Nevada.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where the
So
Vegas
they're
is
heading
where Zone 7 is Vegas.
east.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere maybe on the border of California and Nevada.
Probably, yeah.
Mhm.
Sounds
Yeah.
like Nevada's the no man's land.
So they're so of course, what do you do
What do you
when
do?
you're
Take
just
a nap.
you're just waiting for your guide to rest up? You go and you listen to a sex tape of you and your
Of you
missus.
and
Listen
your
to
robot.
your
Yeah.
old robot
As
wife.
again, future, we don't have headphones. Like you're just
When
gonna
they
play
do
that
that,
shit
that
out
happens
loud.
today too.
Right next to
Yeah.
a drain filled with random snakes.
I loved that. I loved that shot. Like, because I didn't notice the snake right away, and then all of a sudden I noticed it, and I was like, "Oh, that's
I
a nice
don't even
touch."
remember.
There's
the
like 6
snake.
snakes in there, dude. It's
I don't
like,
remember
Oh shit! I
snakes
only
at all.
remember the one hanging over, but
Yeah.
that's a nice touch. I liked it.
So Edith hears this and she rolls her eyes, just like I think any person would. Actually, like
yeah.
Yeah.
it's like when you go to a store and some assholes listening to music as loud as they can on a fucking portable speaker
Or
in the
having a-
store, and you're like,
on
Having
their
just a
phone.
conversation.
Yeah,
Like,
on
why do you...
speakerphone. Hey, what's going on?
right,
Yeah.
but now imagine it's porn.
right.
exactly.
But now,
And he has no shame in his game. He's just like, God damn it, I miss
her.
I miss this. And
just
this
sitting there getting hard.
this is where he's sitting there getting hard for real.
I mean,
This is
so
where
true.
But let me just say real quick, and not
He's
to
in
again,
love, Chris.
I'm
God
gonna
damn it.
I'm gonna
He's
take
in love.
this back into the world of reading too far into this. Maybe this is a sign that maybe Cherry was just a lustful thing to him and not actually
that is-
love
that-
and
that is the thing. That's
Yep.
exactly what it's saying.
I
It's
think
like
so.
he's getting lust confused with love because he doesn't know what intimacy is because of the world that he's coming from, where intimacy with a real woman is so
Yep,
so fucking.
makes sense.
No, I love
you
it.
know?
No, it's great. Like that's a really good read, actually.
Part of the arc.
I'm not laughing because I'm making fun.
No, I'm just, I'm saying like
Didn't think
it's-
about that.
It's and so then he's listening to this fucking thing, longing for it as Edith is in there rolling her fucking eyes. And she even that's when she starts getting into it with like it's just about the sex thing. He's like, no, it's much more than that. But like to Chris's point, every time he fucking turns this tape recorder on, it's like you like
It's like
that
masturbation
faster?
or something. Like,
You want it harder, Big Daddy. and he's like, no, it's about the conversations.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like you're like, I
It
don't
was
think
more
so,
than
buddy.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more than that. Like, but he's still like, we gotta
Yeah.
go find her. And then
Audio porn.
they hear an explosion, and he goes to see what this is. And this is,
Weird move, by the way.
I will say, this is the best shot in the movie. Is that
Yes.
pull out over the quarry, showing this wide shot of how big this quarry is. And the thing I like about it too is I'm like, this motherfucker walks up so close to the edge, like I'm scared for the actor.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that when the tire does roll in and knocks him down, I thought this motherfucker died.
I was like, that's a
She
fucked
killed
up
him.
way to do it, right?
she killed
there.
him right there.
Dude, I've been okay. So we Bisbee's a character in our
Yeah.
script. I've been to Bisbee, and there's a lavender mine that looks exactly like this. And I
Lavender?
thought, yeah, it's a lavender mine, and like
wait. What do you mean lavender? Lavender is an herb.
it's
It's like a flower.
is it
Maybe
a
the
la-
name of maybe the name of the mine is Lavender.
Pretty sure it's a
Mine.
And
lavender.
it smelled
mine.
great. That's
is it
all I
called
know.
the lavender?
Got real
Mine?
sleepy.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's not. We'll,
The point
we'll
is,
Google later.
the point is, I thought it was that mine because it looks so fucking similar.
I want to go
like,
check out Lavender Mine now
Yeah.
in Bisbee.
So yeah, so we get that shot, and this is the first time we're
comes
we're
right
really
the fuck up. Lavender Pit. That's what it is.
Lavender
The
pit.
Lavender Pit.
Oh,
Is
and they
it
got lavender in
open
it.
pit copper mine near Bisbee.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
so
that makes sense. We're in
it
Arizona.
looks so
Alright.
similar to that. Sorry.
Okay.
So, anyways, this is the first time that we're kind of introduced to the Colt and Lester. They're on the other side of the quarry. They're putting a guy in a truck. And this is actually one of my favorite scenes I think I've ever seen in cinema of a truck falling off a cliff because it didn't explode and it just flattened like a fucking pancake, which
Yeah.
I feel like was way
It's just
more
real.
terrifying.
It was
Which
so
is
much
real.
more visceral.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I will say that. Like, I mean, we'll get to the rest of them, but I will say the thing about Lester that they did consistently in this film is that when he killed somebody, it felt a little too real and less movie magic. like it was kind of visceral, you
Well,
know,
I
like it
definitely-
kind of shocked me actually.
I think that again, juxtaposing like his like persona and
Yeah.
then his viciousness.
We
yeah.
we joked about Lester that he was Negan if Negan knew how to beach.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like
Wow.
he's like if Negan and Jimmy Buffett had a baby.
Like I just said, knew how to beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No,
great.
you're 100% correct.
But
with
I
that.
love. I agree. I love that shot, and
Yes.
when you watch it, you do feel a sense of like fear because it's how it would really look if
Right.
you fell off the fucking side of a fucking quarry, like
Yeah.
in a
Yeah,
car.
no explosion, just you're
It's
fucking
just done.
flat.
Just everything smashed, you included.
Right. And so at this point, it is like, cool, now we got to take a detour. This is going to take us longer to get there
I didn't understand why they had to take a detour.
because they have to go. She was going to, I guess, drive around to that side of the quarry. And so she's going to take a detour to avoid Lester and the Colt. Is
Yes.
what I
yeah,
took
that's
it
what I
as.
thought. I think she knows that that's his land. That's his area.
Well, no, they actually say that why is he so close, this close out? He's actually he's not where he's supposed to be.
Oh, okay. So
actually.
what we're seeing actually is
Him venturing
holy shit, that's Lester. What the fuck is he doing here?
Yes.
This
Yes.
is normally
Yeah,
safe.
yeah, yeah.
Now I know fucking avoid this
He's
guy.
Yes.
venturing out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's going to take a shortcut, which leads us now to the crane scene, which was her shortcut. Now,
oh my god, this scene.
where I'm trying,
Right.
Wow.
So many
this
things
scene,
about
man,
this
this scene is going to
Wow.
be another hour of this conversation.
Yeah. Do you want to take a break now?
Yeah. Let's do
I feel
that.
like we spend most of the show on this scene.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the crane scene. And we're back talking about Cherry 2000. Let's get into the crane scene. I think this is this movie was 10 million was the budget.
Yeah.
This scene cost 9 million for them to shoot, and this is
Yeah.
where the budget went.
This was the point where I went, are they at the Hoover Dam?
Yes, and the answer is
the
yes.
The answer is yes.
absolutely yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. Actually, you know what? Like, there was I gotta just say real quick, like, I actually initially thought that I was like, oh, is this an Arizona movie? Like, this looks very much like the Arizona desert and or Sedona in
Right.
some parts, you know. And it was cool to find out that it was all shot in Nevada. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's cool to find out that it was not an Arizona movie
Yeah.
where we would have
I
had a
mean,
connection to it.
yeah,
Really,
I
really
think it's shot in,
happy.
Las
Arizona
Vegas, New
State out of the
Mexico.
I'm
equation.
getting
there.
at is the Hoover Dam scene right now really made me go, oh, Nevada.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So hold on a second. That's what you got from your watch this scene. You said, "Oh, Nevada." Wow, there's bazookas going off
we're-
at each other. and
No,
So-
shit?
I thought this was a great scene.
Here's my question with this scene too. Is this
Love
like
hate, actually.
they pull up to it and they see the crane and they see
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I'm under the assumption that Edith planned all of this.
Yeah, your assumption would be correct.
Yeah,
she
it's what she
makes a
says.
point to say that like that's the only way across this
Yep,
this
it's the
dam.
quickest way.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
she says the only way, this is the fastest way around the
Yeah,
river.
I
Yeah.
took it as
Yeah.
she's done this a few times.
But
Mhm.
see, I took it as like again this is the one part where I took like this is a new setup for Lester's guys. Like they just showed up here,
Mhm.
and she's like, well, the fastest way is going to be tricking them into thinking that they can beat us, and then we
What
we
were
spring it on.
those Lester's guys?
yes
Those
Okay.
were?
yes because
You probably wouldn't get
Yeah,
that on a first
be-
watch.
because he's in bed.
That's true.
He's in bed. They call
True.
they call him, and he's actually in bed with Randa, the girl that's in the end. He's in the brothel with her, and there's a personality line in there. So when he kills her later and says something about the personality, that's where it kind of connects.
Also, they showed like the fist with the star.
Right.
And it says Sky Ranch rules on the wall. So it's like I guess that would signal that it was his
the
guys.
star.
Yeah.
Yeah, the graffiti.
Yeah, it's
Shit.
like
Okay,
there's
so
their
there,
flag or something.
so it's like she's never done this before, is what I took it as. And so I'm like, how does she know this is gonna work?
It's a ballsy move, man. Like
a
it shouldn't
ballsy move.
have worked,
None of it
dude.
made sense. It was
It
all
didn't
on the
make
fly.
sense at all.
it's
and
not
also-
only a ballsy move, but a move that she suggests she's done
Yeah.
multiple times.
You know, here's the thing.
It's also-
you gotta go into it with confidence. That's how you know it's gonna work out for
She did.
you. Yeah,
She
she,
definitely
said,
did.
She
I,
definitely
I've
does
done this
because
before.
when she gets it done, he says to her, "Do you do this all the time?" And she says, "Yeah, but it's never been this easy."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what the fuck does that even mean?
It
I mean, it's a cool line and everything like that
Yeah.
because I get it. It's like,
Because
oh wow, well,
you're supposed to be
incredible.
exhausted after have watched the scene of like crazy chaos. Oh my god, how are they gonna make it out? Like the car gets picked up and then it gets dropped into a tunnel of water. And,
right.
there's things I have a love hate for. I have a love. Sorry, that's my knuckles.
Yeah, it was.
Fuck
Jesus
it was.
Christ.
Oh shit!
Next door
I'm getting
neighbor is
fired
wondering
up.
what's going on.
Yeah, I know, dude. Who you hitting next?
Everyone. No, dude. This scene I have a love hate for because on one hand I'm like, oh, it's so creative and they really do like some really cool shots to make it feel big when it's like some of it's model work clearly, some of it is I feel like double, like I don't know what you call it, but like basically they superimposed like one image over another.
Right.
You know, like just I feel like they used a bunch of camera tricks to make
Yeah.
this whole sequence feel big. But at the same time, there's some shots in it that make me go, is this in fucking slow motion? Like, especially when Melanie Griffith is climbing out onto the front of the car. I'm like, wow, she's moving super slow out
it's
here.
dangerous.
Like, this doesn't
Yeah.
feel. But
I didn't get that.
the music's like action packed, and like
Yeah.
you're supposed to think this is like some big crazy scene. And I'm like, but the actions aren't
Can I-
Hold on a sec.
fitting the
You go
feeling
first, and
here.
then I want to go.
Chris, I want to say that I agree with you, and so in an aspect, like not like I agree with you in what you're saying. That I will say, like, I'll put it this way: this is the best worst scene of this movie. Does that makes does that? It's the best. Like it is.
It's the
fucking
biggest scene.
laughable.
Yeah, there's some really silly
It's
shots.
fucking laughable.
when,
They
when,
just
when she's
keep
hanging on the
missing-
back of the car, it looks like a dummy.
They just
like
keep
hanging
shooting.
Off the back.
I was just like, I was just dumbfounded. They just kept shooting fucking rockets.
Well,
at
that's
him
okay. So
Nothing
as they're like
hitting them.
hovering, yeah,
Nothing.
and just like hitting the dirt below them.
for the audience,
So true.
what happens is the crane picks up the car.
the crane, that Melanie Griffith is driving like a bat out of hell towards this thing, right?
Yeah.
And then this crane out of nowhere, like from a junkyard, a magnet
Picks it up.
comes down, picks it up, and she's like, as soon as it picks it up, she's like, better buckle in.
But none of them should buckle in because that
No.
would defeat the purpose of what they need to do. And they start raising this up, but then there's like 50 dudes who you think would come out with guns, but they all have rocket launchers.
Yeah.
I've never seen a movie have more rocket launchers than Cherry 2000.
Yeah.
It's true.
I can't think of one.
It's really funny because I actually distinctly remember the very first time we see a rocket launcher. It's a guy climbing a ladder with one on his back, and I chuckled to myself. I said, "Haha, they don't." It was missing the tip of it, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, low budget movie couldn't afford the tip, and then like he got up to the top, and there was a guy with just missiles and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is about to happen?
Yeah,
so unexpected.
So this is where I start laughing because I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And then it just gets. They're like, you think that's ridiculous? Well, watch this. The bad guys are gonna hit the car with 2 fucking rockets, and it's not even gonna scratch the paint.
Not a dent.
Nope.
Not a
I
dent.
don't even think it shook the car.
Yeah.
Melanie Griffith shoots one rocket that looks just like theirs. Looks just like the bad guys. It blows up a whole fucking shed with 2 dudes in it.
Yeah.
Then she grabs another one, granted, bigger. It's bigger. Right?
Oh my god, there was such
But
a
it
joke.
blows up a mountain.
Yeah.
She like she's a fucking Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
She
The mountain,
blows
the
up a
blowing
mountain.
up the
Too.
mountain
That
was like
shot.
so wonderful for me. I was like, oh my
It
god,
looked like
yes,
a
yes.
sandcastle was
Yeah.
made, like, and they somehow shot it so it looked bigger than
Yeah.
it was.
I laughed so
100%.
hard. But that's also it's kind of charming because it's so fun. Like it's bad. It is bad. You're gonna
Yeah.
laugh at it, and you can't help but have fun with it because it's so
Sure.
ridiculously
It is,
bad.
it is one of those scenes that just it does subtly go from you
Yeah.
laughing and mocking it to actually laughing with it. Like this is fucking fun.
And then they're like, let's do it. Let's do one more, and let's
Just one
fucking
more.
hang a stunt woman from this fucking car as it dangles and drops, which is a cool stunt, man. It is a cool stunt.
Yeah, it is.
And like,
Gives me anxiety.
they made it look dangerous. I don't know how safe it was. I don't know. I wasn't there,
It looks
Yeah.
dangerous.
But it looks dangerous
gave me
as fuck.
anxiety too. I was like, oh, here we go.
but it was a cool stunt.
It was
and I'll
really
give them
good.
that. And then they lower it into a water tube.
Which
So hold on.
Go ahead.
Before we proceed down the water tube, I want to point something out. So this scene, specifically for me, you just said like, oh, there's like this cool music track, this action going, and it's like this high energy. It's like this is the scene where I realized how fucking terrible the score of this movie is. Like
pretty
during this
subdued.
action-packed scene, it is the most soft, calm, upbeat music you can think of. It's like if you could only afford the free sounds that come with the disc. That's like with the soundtrack they used for this movie. Like they had no budget for it.
You're right. It was really
It was
pretty.
actually just the soundtrack of Cherry's memory. It's like, oh yeah, faster.
It felt like it was action music, but it was like mild action music for like a really high action scene.
You know what's
like soft rock.
You know what's funny, guys, is
Soft
that
rock
you bring up the soundtrack, and it clicked in my head that I can't tell you a single tune. I couldn't hum.
I know it.
It did not
once I
register with
noticed
me.
it in
it's
the
not
scene,
a prominent thing in the movie.
It distracted me the rest of the movie because once I noticed in this scene, I just kept going in each scene and being like, "That's the music they
Doesn't
picked
fit,
here.
yeah.
What the fuck? Terrible."
So it just a fucking crazy ass scene because they blow up a mountain. They blow up a mountain.
Cherry 2000 uses a rocket launcher and
So big that it blows up a mountain.
But we're in this
that's
tube,
covered
though.
in
But we're in this
enemies
tube,
too.
and I have to say, I like this. I like this scene. I had to
the
like.
tube scene.
I had to watch it. I watched it a couple times just to kind of see how they shot it and were creative with it, and how they made it feel really big.
Right.
Even though it was, I don't know, it's probably just creatively shot, like close-ups, and like when they step into the water like hits the fucking lens, or just like, I don't know, they did it creatively, and it worked for me. Like it actually felt like dangerous.
That did, yeah. When he was grabbing his like shit, his clothes or whatever his belongings were, I was
All
like, "You're
falling
fucking
down the
stupid.
shit,
You're gonna
yeah.
fall with that shit. What are you doing? You not see how fast that water's going?
It's a huge tube of
Yeah,
concrete,
yeah.
man.
Fuck that. You gonna face plant and then drag for 1,000
Yeah.
feet down.
Got a skin
No,
left.
I was just about to say.
Well, no,
like,
it turns into the best slip and slide
It's
that's ever
fucking
been
Goonies,
fucking
man.
made.
that's what I was just gonna say. I was like, does anyone else like love in these movies where they have like these fun water slide event in
Yeah.
every adventure movie? There's like
People
this
do.
fun weird water slide through something, and you always want to go on it. But yeah, you're right. Probably would end realistically in a spike
Yeah.
pit, but in the movie, it's in a fucking
Rebarb getting
Yeah.
caught. Like,
yeah. In a movie, it's always just like fucking it's a nice pool of water.
I mean,
he always
Sam-
land with a
Sam-
treasure, a ship sitting
Yeah.
there with
Yeah.
gold on it.
Which
Sam-
in this case, it's fucking Six Fingers.
Yeah,
It's six
exactly.
fingers.
Just who you wanted to see.
You want to see
They need
Jake.
someone to save your ass.
After we thought he had his hands cut off and he bled to death.
Yeah, turns out not to
we
be
were
true.
told Jake's dead.
And this is a weird part of the movie again where they have to take another break, another cool down period where they
They take a lot of breaks.
get to fall in love a little bit more.
Right.
This is the
That's a
moment.
cool down period.
There are like the moments, like the first one. It's like I believe it's when he's listening to Cherry the first time on the radio thing.
Yes.
Where she's like, "It's a robot, you dumbass."
Right.
This part is like it kind of like tries to solidify that. Like
Mhm.
I feel like this is where like the character arc keeps continuing, right?
100%.
It's a moment like I don't know, like Cherry's like I don't know, man. Like here's the thing I don't understand about this, and this is the part of the film that really lost me. I get why Sam would be into Edith, right?
Mhm.
But I don't understand why Edith would be into Sam.
Good. Do you see the town she comes from? The men are very slim pickings, my
I
friend.
don't know.
This is okay. This
She asked
is
about Anaheim.
this
She's
is
curious.
this is something I also
She's
thought
Anaheim
about,
curious,
and
yes.
I kind of thought it as like he's from a big city, and there's just this magical allure to him and
Yes.
shit, and it kind
Yes.
of made me hate the character Cherry a bit because I'm just like
Cherry or Edith?
Cherry?
or I'm sorry, of
Yeah.
Edith, because I'm like you're fawning over this person just because they're like from the big city. Like she's supposed to be this badass tracker. Like
She
It's
maybe-
a mo-
you
it's-
know,
it's
yeah, opposites
continued
attract, Kyle. What can we
Yeah,
say?
dude.
Like, you know,
Hey,
you
Yeah, but like
want
this
Kyle,
is
you're
number
right.
one, you can't
what's
stop
the,
young
the
love.
opposite here. Like
young love.
You
There-
can't stop young
I can't
love,
tell who's what age in this movie.
which is really what this movie is about when
Yeah.
you break it down to its core.
But this
Every
scene,
movie's
this
about young
scene,
love.
yeah, it's kind of funny because it's like they really put these moments of like you joked, the cool down scenes where it's like, oh, now we could relax in this living room and play little family time where it's like, like
Yeah.
he's like the dad and she's
he's-
like the
yeah.
younger kid and he's mentored her.
Oh, he's mentoring both in here, right?
Both,
So
yeah.
he has the conversation with Edith of like, hey, you're good enough. Any man would be lucky to have you. Don't
right.
Mhm.
don't sweat it
Yeah.
about a robot. I know you like this guy, but hey, you're worth it.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm.
And then he has the very, I think, famous line. That's probably not famous. Where he tells Tom, what the fuck is his name? I don't even know his name.
You've seen this
Can I
movie
be
more
honest?
than
Can I
us.
be honest with
Sam.
you?
Sorry, it was
Sam?
Yeah,
I couldn't remember the
I
main
knew it was a
character's name.
three-lettered fucking name.
I couldn't remember his name.
And I'm more into what Jake is with Jack. See, look at this, the guy.
Damn.
What Jake's about to say, and that is, hey, love is more than hot. The love is more than hot wiring.
Yes.
Wow.
Which
you know what? It struck me to the core.
Meaning you can't just be selfish and hotwire love.
Well, no,
whenever
this
you
kind of
want.
goes. This kind of goes.
I think he
this
was
kinda
referring to
goes-
electronics.
This kind of goes back to my
Metaphorically.
point with the beginning of the movie and his reaction as well of being not like, is he upset? Yes, but is he fucking devastated? Really and truly, probably not, because like he says at the end, it's just a robot. Again, like, can you really fall in love with a machine?
People do
He's
all the time.
but
Yeah.
he's saying it's soulless. He's basically saying it's soulless, and he had to get out of that world where that is just the norm. And
Jake
now he's
did.
out in the real world where you have a flesh and blood woman in front of you who has feelings, who can have a real conversation, who can react to the danger that is going on around them.
Right. Yeah, they definitely show that at the end.
Right. So I don't know. I think that's I think he was disillusioned in his love for Cherry, and that's what his journey is finding out. Like, no, I didn't really love a machine from the get go.
It wasn't love.
I thought it would have been really funny choice if they instead had Jake start to talk to him like the fucking repair guy. I know.
Awesome.
I know what it's like, buddy. Yeah, you're right. Robot love is real.
Where did he find all those ovens?
Dude,
I
okay.
loved
So
that.
speaking of the
It
set
didn't make
design,
sense.
yeah, like there's some scenes where I feel like they just got really box happy, where they just like stacked boxes, and we're like, this is what the
They
future
probably
is.
got a
It's
deal
just
on boxes.
it's stacks of boxes and stacks of metal
Well, no,
grates.
he's collecting.
and
You didn't hear? He found an entire shipment of fucking microwave ovens.
Yeah, and that's cool. I liked it personally, but I just made me think like, what's with the mass produced I guess that's what it is, right? All the
Yeah.
recycled junk, like
Yep.
yeah, I guess
Going
so.
into the
is.
consumerism of it.
Just being swallowed up by
Yeah,
material
we're like 5
goods,
years away. You know,
Yeah.
so.
technological goods that
And,
we don't
I mean,
need.
hey, it makes a hell of a rattlesnake. Yeah.
Oh, he does,
It
or
makes
it does. Yes,
Makes
That
a hell of a
looked good.
rattlesnake.
I'd eat
that
that.
thing looks stiff as hell.
No, dude, it does not look good at all. I'm with Sam on this one. No,
taxidermied.
thank you. No,
Yeah,
thank you.
nah.
No, thank you, sir.
I'm all full. Had enough.
Yeah.
This whole trip, I've been eating granola bars.
Yeah, all filled up.
All
Yep.
filled up.
I like the jukebox in there, and
Yeah,
It felt cozy.
Jake's place is dope.
Hey, man, he's got a
cozy.
cool
Jake's
bachelor
place
pad.
is dope. Yeah.
How do we get out of Jake's place? I forget.
They just
They have to
leave.
go on
They just
their,
gotta,
their
they just
journey.
gotta go on
leave.
their merry way.
No, they
yeah.
go back. They go back and they get in a fight. They go back to the dam. They get in a fight with more guys.
Yeah, the
they
plan
get the
is to-
crane. They get
yeah,
the
yeah.
crane. They get
Just
the
gotta
car
get a
out
car
of there.
out, right?
Got the car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then from there,
That's kind of a blur
that's
to
when
me. I
no,
don't know.
that's when the gun. No, sorry, they get the car out, and that's when fucking Sam gets hit in the head with a 2x4.
Okay.
He passes out, and then the scene cuts to him waking up at
Sky Ranch.
Sky Ranch.
I will say I really loved how many off-camera gags there were in this movie. The tire, the 2x4, it made me chuckle.
Yeah.
Like, there's a certain like adolescent charm to this movie, and it's like in those scenes.
I
as well.
agree.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
agree.
Definitely.
And like when he wakes up, we are introduced to my fucking favorite character,
Yes.
which is Ginger.
Yes.
Ginger.
I was like, she's been in something, right? Like something else. I know I've
And
seen
it's
her.
barely anything.
I don't think I've seen her in
Can
anything.
somebody though explain to me the justification of having her in this? I just felt like that was such a weird moment
It
where
is
he
very
like,
weird.
She's
shows
just a
up.
wacky character. I don't know.
But the weird part is that she's like, it's Sam's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, what are the chances of his ex-girlfriend
point.
living
That's
in
such
Zone
a
7 with a
random
cult?
made-
thing that is
Yeah.
never mentioned. It's
made
never
no
talked
sense.
about, and then all
Right.
of a sudden she's just like,
Yeah.
"Hey, it's me," and it's
I
like,
agree.
"Oh, it's my ex-girlfriend. Hell yeah!" Like
Yeah.
it's so
It was so weird.
Mm.
Didn't make
weird.
any sense.
But
It
I
could have
also-
been anybody.
but
She
I-
just could have been like a bubbly person that is like, "Hi, welcome to our little place." Like it could have been anything.
But it also shows
Why
that
did they want to tie it to him?
it
huh?
also shows that Sam had a relationship with a human before.
She was human?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought she was a robot the whole
Really?
time.
No, she was
no,
human.
she's human.
I
So
thought she was a robot.
he had a relationship with a human before Cherry, and so you're like,
or
it kind of
or during.
it kind of defeats the purpose. It kind of defeats the purpose of like what themes are you trying to say here? Because he then obviously has felt some sort of intimacy, or he has felt some sort of,
But the only thing is that I felt like
or maybe not. Maybe
he-
they just want to date. I don't know.
he's very over this. Like I don't ever got the impression that he was just like, yeah, she meant something
I
to me,
mean,
and this really broke my heart. Like
she's
I just got to
nuts.
just like, this is my ex-girlfriend. This is my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's nuts.
It was-
Like she's
yeah, she's
definitely nuts.
clearly
It
nuts.
was-
She
it
joined
was more
essentially
shock.
a death cult.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know. I just
know.
simply like the actress that's playing this character,
makes
so
so-
it's okay with me.
Yeah.
Like that, her character doesn't make that much sense because I'm like, maybe that's why. Maybe they just felt like, oh, she's just kind of breaks up
Yeah.
the movie and gives it some
Mhm.
lightness.
Well, it's also
100%.
there's also again it goes there's something that they're trying to say, and I'm not 100% sure what it is with the misogyny, because she's treated pretty poorly by Lester.
Yeah.
And there's this part where he makes her make sandwiches, and like she has the sandwiches, and then finally when he passes, she says to the guy like, well, I guess no sandwich for him. Like there's this weird like massage. I don't know what they're trying to say with it, but they do direct like the women to all go. At one point, the cult directs all the women to go make sandwiches. And it's like a very deliberate thing, and you're like, "What are you trying?" There's definitely like you're trying to say something about misogyny, but I don't know what the fuck
I
it
just
is.
thought he knew there was a long travel ahead, and they need snacks for the road.
Well, maybe they're trying to just say something, about Lester's character being
I didn't
misogynistic.
get-
It's
I-
no, but
a
there's
bit.
also a theme
I
of
didn't
it. There's
get
also
that.
a theme of it in the movie where like the women kind of rise above it, like you know, like it's. I don't know. I think I don't know what they're trying to say with it, but there's to me there's something there that maybe
There's
I'm
some
digging
message,
deep.
yeah.
Maybe I'm digging deeper
With
than I
Ginger's
should.
character, I actually don't know. Like that, I kind of would like to pin something on her. Like, what's her whole motive, and like, why is she like this, and all.
Well,
this
she
stuff,
comes
but,
off
like,
she comes off as abused, obviously by a psychopath that
Yeah.
Mhm.
runs the Sky Ranch.
Yeah.
yeah.
He hates trackers, which is never really explained why.
I mean, I don't even know if that's a thing. Like,
But-
it just feels like that was just he said that for that particular moment so he can kill that tracker. Like,
Why was he? Why
It's
did they
just
knock
weird.
him over the head
No,
just
no,
to bring
they have
him
a
in?
they have a rule about no tracker. It's mentioned before in the film as well. There's that he hates trackers.
Are we talking about Lester finally?
Yes, we are on
Oh,
Lester.
thank
He's one of
God.
my favorites too.
I was like, where do I know this guy
Very,
from
very
too? He looks so familiar.
I
been
don't
on
think
the
you
t-
know
he's been
him
on a
from
ton of shit.
anything.
What's that?
He's
He's been on
been
a ton of shit.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of shit.
Oh, really?
No, I loved Lester. I thought, oh man, I would say
Great villain.
of all the, yeah, thank you, excellent villain. Of all the characters in this film, was best portrayed, best performance, and and is the most well written for character.
Yeah, because he gives you like right when he shows up, I'm like, I like this guy, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, he's evil.
Which like just feeds into like how creeped out he made me because
Mhm.
like this like bubbly personality up front, very like I took a look and I was like
Very
Beach Boy. I got
accepting.
Beach
Yeah,
Boys
yeah.
vibe, like just you just
exactly.
good, good. Yeah, what
Tim Thomerson, I think is how
Tim
you say his name.
Thomerson. What else has he been in? though?
Dude, so he is a
I don't-
he is
I feel like he looks like everyone.
dude, he's been
He's
in
in a bunch of stuff.
he's been in Iron Eagle. He was in Demonic Toys. He is in Trancers, which is all what's his name? Charlie Band's
Bands,
movies.
yeah.
He's in Doll Man. He is Doll Man, we'll say. Who's Harry Crumb? I mean, he's in fucking everything.
He pops up
Near
quite a
Dark.
bit.
He's in
like-
Near Dark.
Oh, Near
Yep.
Dark makes another appearance on
Yeah.
the show.
So the Flash TV show, not the new one, but the old one. He was in
Oh
that.
shit!
Like
Really?
the '90s one.
Yeah. So I
I
mean,
like
he's
that one.
he's been in a ton of stuff, but he actually, when you watch him on screen, in this movie, he comes across as one of the stronger actors.
He is.
It looks like
Definitely.
Totally
It's like, yeah, the script's not the greatest, but I'm gonna fucking run with this.
He created such a character. It's so funny because we were talking about Streets of Fire. We were talking about Willem Dafoe. We made a joke about best villain, but like they're on like the same in terms of their performance and who they are. Like he's better than Willem Dafoe as in Streets of Fire
As that type of
yeah,
villain.
as a villain. Like when they basically passed the bullseye bag to the tracker
Yeah.
during dinner time across the table each person, like I was just filled with so much fucking dread. 'Cause
Yeah.
this guy is about to die.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know how they did it, but in this movie, like it just made that Lester just makes all these scenes feel so visceral and actually real.
It's because it's done in
Makes you
almost a
so
childish way, right? It's
yeah.
this painted paper bag that he's like passing down this line of people are casually just like, we've done this a bunch of times. And then it finally lands on him and he's so unaware that he passes it too. And they're like, no, that's for you, bro. And then fucking they make him put it on.
Yeah.
And then it's this like, I mean, it's a little underwhelming, but like
100% underwhelming.
Yeah, it's underwhelming. Like the final,
Yeah.
whatever. But like they still make you
The
feel
build-up
anxious
is
about it.
No.
Yeah.
very uncomfortable.
He when crazy is paired with like a cool head,
mm-hmm.
that's when it's like played well, and that's what he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Like the character had its quirks, but it also never felt so out of control. Like he always felt like Lester always felt like he was a villain who was in control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did everything not go his way?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he always was just like, fuck it, move on, let's go. We're still gonna try,
Yeah.
or we're still gonna go.
It's
Yeah.
true.
He was a good villain, a good leader of his
Tribe,
villainy
yeah.
crew, his tribe. But yeah, no, he's just a victim of bad luck.
Yeah.
Nothing goes his way.
And so, fucking Sam's like, I gotta get out of here. He goes to escape. And
Yeah.
as he's escaping, guess who's saving him?
Who's saving him?
Edith.
Yeah.
Edith's back.
There she
Pops
is.
up.
He's back.
And
Jake.
six-fingered Jake.
Yeah. And what do? He decides he's gonna burn down the place. My favorite thing about
Yeah, he's like fucking
so
done.
ridiculous.
so
yeah.
my favorite thing about burning down Sky Ranch is that Sky Ranch randomly has a
Beehive.
beehives in
What was that about?
in one of the buildings.
What
I
was
guess
that
for
never
honey.
about?
explained.
For honey, I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, that's a good
Oh,
point.
which
Which
is
you
so
can.
casual. Like,
Hey.
yeah, that makes so
No,
sense.
it does.
dude.
They're living in the desert. They're living
Why the
on
fuck were there bees?
No, they're living in the desert. There's no food.
Oh,
This
they're
is a
living off
way.
of honey.
They need pollen. They need to pollen their plants. No, it kind of makes sense. You need to fertilize and pollinate and all that shit, dude.
Well, I love that our
Now it
main
makes
main
sense.
character targeted that.
Mike-
he knew
Mike
it.
was reading-
He knew this was the you know.
Mike was reading his fucking soda can a minute ago, and they came in with that gem
Yeah.
that they needed it for the honey.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you have it. But no.
He
So,
kicks in, saves him.
yeah, she does. He was already escaping. They just kind of meet at the same time, oddly enough.
That's true.
And he burns the place down, and they run off, and they go to they go to the Last Chance brothel and gas, and that's where Snappy
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snappy.
and Rodan.
That girl's name.
This
Rodan.
I think that was a Godzilla.
Randa.
That was a Godzilla
I
villain,
was-
actually.
I want to say Rhonda so bad, but it's like Randa.
Yeah, it's Randa.
It's yeah.
It's a we- this is
the
a
future.
weird
It's 2017. guys.
dynamic too. Like I'm not sure what's going on.
Like I said, I think they're
here.
trying to play on the old man, young girl
Yeah.
relationship dynamic,
Juxtaposition.
something in there with that, but it's not really fully fleshed out, I feel like. But she's obviously also she's a prostitute.
Right. But
She's at the
also
the
part of
brothel.
Lester's crew, or at least
Yeah,
associated
but
with.
they also say like a weird line too, where it's like I'm like, was she kidnapped? Because he asks how she's Jake asks how she doing, and she's like, I missed the beach. Like she was
Hmm.
taken from the beach.
Yeah, I got that.
I
too.
don't understand it, and I also don't understand why they need. I don't know. For me, it's like it's a world of robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why do we need?
I didn't know how much of Lester's crew was robots and which weren't.
They are all so
They're not robots. At
I'm gonna
all,
tell you
right?
the understanding I have, and maybe this goes along with the misogyny in this movie too, is that
Yeah.
there are no male robots.
I was wondering.
You know
that.
what? You make a good point. I know
Sammy
there
asked
is
if
no,
there was, and
There
I
are
was
no
like, I
male
don't know.
sex robots that I saw
Nope.
throughout this
Yeah.
entire film.
I don't think I saw one.
No.
I just assumed because like their acting was so
Which
robotic.
is it
Yeah.
saying Is that, I guess, now I question my own saying there. I don't know if it's saying like something about misogyny or if it's saying something about the
Patriarchy.
No, like men like once having sex got difficult with a woman and bureaucracy got in the way and paperwork got in the way, men were just like, fuck it, can't wait. Give me a pillow, give me something. I need to hump right now. And so they're like, you know what? We're gonna we can't stop this war. We can't stop global warming. We can't. There's a hole in the ozone layer, but we can build a fucking robot that you believe is a human. And guess what? You're gonna be able to fuck it. Mm-hmm. That's where we're putting all our resources.
Just animal instincts.
That's what we're putting. What about the women?
Look,
They'll be fine.
I'm just saying. It's just, I felt like parallels between this movie and current days.
What do you mean, like with AI? Well,
Just with like all the things are like the fact that like their number one form of like economy is breaking down the overconsumerism that we are currently experiencing right now. It's like the only job they have in the future is to clean up the shit left behind by like the previous generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I just feel like with all the shit that we're getting into with like mass consumerism and shit as well. Like I felt parallels between like what could be after a could be after like possibility.
Like if like maybe not 2017, but maybe like 2117.
Well, no, there's
2017 or 2037.
I don't disagree with you. There's a lot of parallels to it. Like I actually see my own relationship somewhat in this movie, in the fact that like, I'm married to a robot. No, I'm just kidding.
What I mean, they were having a revelation. It's just like, I mean, like you don't have to vent your marriage problems here.
That is literally my
she's
my
a
running
robot.
joke with Sammy is she's a robot.
My thing. What I'm trying to say is that like, okay, so when I was single, I was on all of the dating sites.
Sure.
And I was having relationships that weren't so meaningful.
Okay.
And then, like, it got to a point to where I was like, I need to get off of this because this is it's unhealthy. I feel unhealthy. And then when I moved away from the technology and I got off of those apps is when I met a person in real life who turned out to be absolutely perfect for me.
Mm-hmm. That's a great parallel.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
You know, there's a real life thing of this kind of in a way. You heard of Replica? Replica's like a AI chatbot that the company brand they had gone during the pandemic. They had kind of made a really hard turn to this is an AI girlfriend, and they started to kind of like saying like, you know, and it'll send you like photos and stuff, and it'll send you stuff like that. And something happened. I think it was in Italy, right? Where it was against the law, and they were like, hey, you can't be doing this. Like, this is kind of like a pornography thing or something, right? So they had to shut it down. So then they had to shut down all of the AI girlfriend aspect of it and go back to like a friendship model, right?
Yeah.
And people lost their minds. Like, they actually were just like, this is the only thing I have, though. Like, this is the only love that I have right now. Like, I have no connection to people.
They were that hooked.
No, there were actually people that actually were like devastated at this, and it became a really big thing, and it was a real black eye on that like product for a while.
Oh my god!
Like, there's like a
it was
bunch
too
of stuff.
good. Like, or it was too
It wasn't
addicting.
so much
or
that. I
something?
think
No, it's just that
people have been
easy.
very.
It's easy.
People are
That's what it
lonely.
comes down
They're very
to.
lonely right now.
Yeah.
And during lockdowns, when it was at the heyday of the pandemic, you know, like you weren't even allowed to go out to see anybody. So I mean, that just increased that isolation even more. And this company thought they could, I guess, profit off it to a degree, and it ended up
Make
hurting
you
a lot of
fake
people's.
girlfriend.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
like
mean,
Her. It's like
that's
the movie
essentially-
Her.
Okay, yeah.
That's essentially, I guess, you kind of solved that with this movie and that conversation. That's kind of, I guess, what you could say happened with this society. Like, corporations saw a need where men weren't.
Yeah. They didn't want to do the paperwork
Having
at the club, glue
right.
club.
Well, I think it's more along the lines that like intimacy has been regulated to like a legal document that you
Right.
have to have, like
Which is
it's-
what is intimate about that.
right, exactly. So with that stripped away, like people are turning to robots to fulfill that. So I mean, of course, that's going to breed some level of loneliness if you're trying to make the connection. I guess he finds it in the Badlands of
does.
Nevada.
The glory
Because-
hole.
and I think that's like maybe the point here. Is
Because
that,
when you have a woman that can fix an airplane
sure,
with duct tape
In 10 minutes.
in 10
she had
minutes,
no problem
10
fixing that.
minutes.
put a
road.
wheel on,
Yeah.
like it was amazing.
I thought to myself, where's she going to find propellers? But in the next
Nope.
scene, they were there.
They were
Bolted,
on it.
bolted
Built
to
them
it. Bolted
with
to it.
sticks and
Yeah.
gumption.
Yeah. Willed it.
Yeah.
So, so this is where don't ever trust anybody with mac and cheese. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Someone comes out and says
Quick
lunchtime
grab.
mac and cheese, and that's all they got. They don't have a main course because
Yeah.
mac and cheese is a side.
Yeah.
Then don't trust them because they're gonna shoot you in the back with a muffin gun,
That's right.
or not a muffin gun. What the fuck?
What's a muffin gun?
What's a muffin gun?
It's a gun and a muffin. This is a gun and a fucking
What?
oven glove. An oven glove.
Oven glove.
Oh,
Have you
oven
ever
Yeah,
gun.
oven glove gun.
Oven
Muffin
gun.
gun sounds way better though.
Muffin gun, yeah.
The muffin
I was
gun?
like, it's a gun in a muffin.
Yeah. Would have been way cooler if they went with that. Which is
hungry.
not yeah, right. I think
it-
that's where I'm at.
It did make me. It did remind me of the boot gun from Once Upon a Time in the West.
Bro, she's ruthless. She shoots him in the back and then fucking straight up in the head.
I know that shot. Like I was like, why? Why was that necessary? Like, holy crap! They're like guaranteed he was dead.
I know. Oh, I got one. I do want to go back a little bit into this too about one of the scenes in this movie that again is just it's fucking laugh out loud funny, and I'm like, you put this in there as an absolute joke, and it's got to be when they when they show up to the gas station or the brothel gas station with the plane.
Mm-hmm.
They go to search in it, and the Randa pops out, and she holds Sam at gunpoint. Then Cherry comes out of nowhere and holds Randa at gunpoint.
And then the
Then Snappy pops out of a refrigerator and holds fucking Edith at gunpoint.
That's what I was saying.
Then
man.
Jake pops out of a garage door and holds Snappy at gunpoint.
Yeah, it's
It
real
was a sequence of ridiculousness that had to be a joke. Had to be a joke.
moments like this.
course.
It's just like the adolescent charm of this movie is like these funny kind of tongue-in-cheek little gags
Yeah.
throughout. Yeah.
I want to clarify. Cherry is not in this.
Oh, sorry, not Cherry. I meant
It's
I meant
okay.
Edith. Yeah.
Edith. Yeah.
Confusing because of the cover.
It's the
art.
red
Yeah.
hair.
Again, coming
It's
back
because
to
of Chris. He keeps trying to bring us to Cherry.
It's no, it's the fucking red hair. It's like, why would you give
Yeah,
cherry red hair to a person who's not named Cherry?
Yeah.
I know.
doesn't make any
There's
sense.
some missteps
It's
there.
it's
with the
yeah.
Unless she is the Cherry 2000 of his heart.
No, it's clear that this.
Yeah, see, he got it.
Oh,
She's the real cherry.
She's the real
He's
Cherry.
the real Cherry.
So
Or
they
Cherry 2000, one
they
might
get in the
say.
plane. They fly off. Jake is dead. He tells her that Jake is dead. She's a little choked up about it.
Yeah,
shot
Just
up.
a little.
She doesn't seem very
They
choked up at all.
fly into Vegas, which is just
Covered in sand.
was obviously part of the border war and is covered in sand.
Can I say
Yeah.
another thing too? Am I not mistaken that in the end of Blade Runner 2099 or what is it? Blade Runner
2049 or whatever.
What's the name of
New
the
one.
the newest Blood Runner?
I understand your question.
Blood
What's-
Runner
I don't.
is a
I don't have
fucking
the
sick
answer
name.
though.
Am I not mistaken that in the newest Blade Runner that when he meets Decker again, it's in like a sanded over Vegas in the same way? Isn't like it felt like
Yeah.
wasn't that the exact same setting?
Yeah, I mean that they do that a lot in a lot of movies, but you know, I just think that would happen naturally.
Like, I know
the
there's a
desert would
Fallout
take, would
They
take
do
it
it-
back,
too,
like,
They
but,
also
they
do
do
it.
that in Resident Evil.
Yeah, they do it in
3.
Resident Evil as well. Yeah, I
Did they
was
go
gonna
to
say.
Vegas? In
Yeah,
the Blade
Vegas
Runner?
is a sandy wasteland.
I wonder why
And
Vegas
then also
is always
there's the
this
zombie
spot.
movie that takes place in
The
Vegas.
same
that just
reason, like
was on
New
Netflix.
York
Yeah, that's
would
the Zack
be,
Snyder one.
or-
Yeah.
It's just like a staple of
I guess
It's just like
so.
a really well.
I feel like I've seen that
place.
so many times. It's like
Yeah.
we're in Vegas and it's sanded over, and then you see
Well,
like
that's
the
what would happen,
tops of
right?
like
I-
casinos.
so-
the desert would take it back, take back that land. It's
I
left
lo-
unattended
Wow.
to, don't you think?
the desert took
Yeah.
it back.
I
Yeah,
love so
man.
I actually
Blowing
love
dust and shit.
I loved
bro.
when they
The
fly.
house doesn't win this time. This time it's the desert.
The house is made of sand.
I love when they fly into it,
Yeah.
and I love the visuals of it.
This is a good shot.
Where I'm baffled at, and I brought it up in the beginning of the show as well, is like, why is the robot factory in a casino?
Yeah.
I just don't.
I
that's
I
like
asked
such
the
a
same
weird
question.
disconnect.
Listen, I think it's the same with anything in the world, right? Like, why are spirit Halloweens in
I kind of thought
destroyed
of it.
fucking ended companies. Like I'm assuming they had a space and they said, let's make it here.
I kind of took it as that in this world, like kind of gambling lost its charm, and what sells way better than gambling is a store full of sex robots.
This is
It's a new
It's
addiction.
also not a store. I think it's like a graveyard. It's like where they.
Well, they call it the
For
graveyard. They
storing-
literally call it the graveyard. She says it at the beginning.
Yeah.
like, that
So
she's
is
in the
it?
graveyard.
I don't know if it's where they send robots after whatever this
Oh,
war
right,
was.
because this wouldn't be a factory.
This
is
is all
a place
this is all
to
collected belongings.
retire something.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is all collected shit. Like,
So I don't know again why it's in Pharaoh's Casino.
I think the answer is because no one's using Pharaoh's Casino
yeah,
anymore.
if Pharaoh's
We have a
Casino
space,
was
throw 'em in
empty.
there.
We had a
Is that
door
it?
ajar.
There's no guards.
Were the robots an offering that if you were a player's member you get a sex doll or something?
I think that predates this.
Here's the thing that I don't
It's
understand.
not just like a high class.
No, I think it's
offering.
just like it's a free building they had available to store all these sex dolls they found in the rubble
Here's
post
something-
the war.
Here's something I don't
Perfectly-
understand though. If
Yeah.
if Cherry 2000
Mhm.
is this prize thing, right? It
Yes.
has a value to it. Why would it be retired? Why would it,
Yeah,
like
Are
I
you
don't
kidding
understand
me? You're a video game collector. How
No,
could
I
you
know.
ask that question?
because the
Like,
answer is they don't get retired.
So-
They're in video game shops and they go for
From
ridiculous prices.
My understanding of it, and I guess
But
he
I'm
basically has
I'm making the
mutantly
leap.
cocky or whatever the hell it is.
That's not me.
I'm making the leap that the company that was involved in making the cherry is no longer in business, maybe because of the border wars.
Right, but
Could be.
what I'm saying is, okay, so you're in a place with all of these like marauders and stuff running around. Why aren't they absolutely tearing that place to shreds and
'cause-
stealing all that shit?
Well,
It's valuable
because,
things.
no.
because without the disc, it's useless, and the disc only exists in
But
models that were sold.
You can now
those
sell it
discs
to
don't
the
exist
person
anymore.
who has the disc.
Yeah, true.
But
That's-
nobody has
there's
a
a
disc
value
except
to it
this
now.
guy.
No,
He's
no,
the-
I agree with Mike, and this is something that I questioned throughout the movie. It was like, why is the disc? The disc is important to him because it has her personality, voice, and memories on
But it has the entire
Yeah.
software.
But why is it valuable to everybody else? And again, I agree with you. Like, why would no one go get? Because hey,
It's the only way to
The
turn her on.
chassis.
Yeah,
But
but what
the-
I'm saying is,
I
if
don't
you have
need-
a piece of something,
Right.
right, and you to complete it makes it even more valuable, then that makes that second piece
Equally as valuable.
equally valuable.
Yeah.
right.
I don't think people are that organized in this world. Don't you
I mean,
think?
clearly, I think the writer wasn't
Yeah.
organized, is what the problem was. But
I didn't find that outside the realm of crazy. I thought maybe eventually, like if we fast forward a good 50 so years, maybe there's a good system set up where people are reselling these sex bots on the market.
think if-
I just didn't
dude,
think it exists right
If
now.
they would
Oh,
have
no,
put
they
this
were
in like
being
a
resold.
factory, if they would have put
No.
this in like a factory or
This
something that was
wasn't,
like more well guarded, I would have been
No.
like, okay,
No,
but
all the ones in
Pharaoh's
that
Casino?
Vegas casino were being resold.
No, I was saying like I'm saying that they are being resold.
But the question is the ones
robots.
that are in the Vegas casino.
No, the ones in the Vegas casino that's just as like they said it's a robot graveyard, which tells me that the repairman, like those are a thing of the past because they're recycling the technology.
Yeah.
So the repairman is there to keep the ones that are still just going,
Yeah.
and everybody else, I don't know why they can't get to the wasteland because of Lester, I guess, but again, it's a weird disconnect that doesn't really make
I mean, the only
fucking
thing I can
sense.
factor in is that maybe what it is that these robots were retired into this place, and then it got taken over by marauders, and people are like, well, no one's going to go back to the
Yeah.
factory, risk their fucking lives.
That actually kind of lines up with what my brain was kind of thinking when I
Okay.
was watching it. Yeah.
Also, too, it's like it's not. It's
like,
like
during the war, like
it's
shit
like
was
it's
collected
not a
and
repair
stored.
facility because they're all Cherry's functioning just fine when he puts the disc in her. So it's not like they're in
No, there's just
disarray.
deep storage.
Also-
it's like storage for unused.
But
fucking sex
but also,
bots.
I guess my point is again with Marauders there. I guess that makes sense. But again, like even if they didn't think Cherry's chassis had value to it because they can't find a buyer for the thing. They can still find a buyer for her internal parts because they're recycling again
That's
20th
what
century.
I'm saying.
So that place is a gold fucking mine.
Yeah, like
Right.
if you have a piece like a machine, right? Like let's say like a Windows 95 computer, right? And you like want
Yeah.
to use it to run something or something like that. Like that has a value to it. Like there's a reason why like old, like, let's say, video game systems have a certain value to them, right? It's because now they're in demand because people don't want to emulate or whatever, and they want to like bring life to those games. So now one component now has another component that brings the value up for both, essentially, because somebody wants it. If the discs, it's understood that the discs still exist out there. I can't imagine that Sam's the only person in the world that owns one of these discs.
How hard is it to copy a disc in this world?
It's not in any world.
Right.
That's the
Well,
thing.
we don't know. We're speculating, right?
We are speculating.
I
but-
haven't really seen any like computers.
But
or
listen, this is
Yeah.
1988. They know how computers work.
This
They
is 2017.
I understand that,
No,
but
no, no,
but
what
the
I'm saying
guy
is when this
emphasized-
movie
the guy
was made.
emphasized how rare the disc itself even was. Like it
Yeah.
was that is
Well, the
incredibly
chassis is rare.
The,
The chassis is rare, and so is the disc.
And the disc contains her primary programming plus whatever the owner added to it.
But I guess we're
So the
living
disc
in
is
a
necessary
world
So I
just to
guess-
turn
where
it on.
data can't
Oh.
be copied, though.
Yeah.
No, I guess the
It's all-
the value is the disc because of how it's programmed, the sensitivity and all that stuff. Because he could have popped that when he was trying to sell him another robot. He could have popped that disc cherry into another body.
Okay. Right, but
But
then-
he was hooked
Are
on the
we saying-
physical appearance.
Are
Well,
we
yeah,
saying that the
because-
that the same should apply for the Cherry 2000 bot, right? I can plug any fucking disc into the Cherry, and then I have
Yes.
this beautiful robot in front of me.
Yes, but it's not gonna
which is
react
just
like the Cherry does,
which
'cause
is
it's not
just
the
as
programming.
basic as any other robot without the
Right.
the proper Cherry 2000.
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
you know.
I don't
Hey,
know. This
so
world is
can
a
we-
little
Update.
confusing.
You
we
gotta
ju-
have that 22.4
Can we jump back?
update. You know.
Can we jump back to the repair store real quick?
Yeah.
Which
let's
one?
Go
The
back
beginning?
to the
Yes.
Hey,
in
we jumped to the end of the movie at the beginning
Yeah.
of this. Why not just go all the way to the beginning?
the beginning, at the end of this.
Yeah.
That first robot,
And
the
you
one that hasn't been used, that looks like a
Oh.
schoolgirl.
Oh, and by the way, gross
Ugh.
thing to say, like it's never been used.
Right. Right.
really gross.
But
yeah.
also like looks young.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
could have been.
Look, it was a
That
little
could have been.
gross.
They could have left that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one they could have.
I did.
I'm
Yeah.
glad we went back to the repair store to,
I mean-
to remember that,
Yeah.
that great memory of this movie.
Yeah.
I just.
Remember that weird cheerleader scene? That was fucking weird, right?
So they find the cherry in the Pharaoh thing while Lester and his men are trying to catch up because they're in a vehicle. They're in cars. They're
I
in
like
a
they
plane.
took off in a plane and they just were following him with a car, just watching him. Where are they going?
Yeah, I gotta follow where they're going. And
Ridiculousness.
he puts the disc in Cherry. She comes alive. They make out for a very long time,
Mhm.
Yeah.
an uncomfortably
Yeah.
Yeah.
amount of time, and then in a matter of a football field
Yeah. 100
of
yards.
length, he
Sure.
falls out of love with Cherry. I mean, he's out of love with her throughout. He's falling out of love with her throughout the film.
Yeah.
But it really hits home with him when the danger starts happening and she is just fucking oblivious because he's starting to realize the limitations to the programming and that
See, I
she's
don't,
not a real person.
I didn't,
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily get that. What
I
I
was
thought
getting
was
that, yeah.
the massive trigger was the idea that by leaving Edith sitting there, who would almost probably certainly die, right? Or even the possibility that she might. A world without Edith is unthinkable to him, and then I think that's where he realizes, like, no, I love
Wow.
her. I don't love
I didn't
the
get
robot.
I didn't
Really?
get
I
that.
didn't get
No.
that, no.
Because
way.
doesn't he
That's a
notice
really
it?
big
He's in a
feeling.
plane and he's looking down at her, and she's
I
she's
think when
surrounded
well,
by everybody.
I thought he was admiring like how alive she was and how
Yes.
she was a real
Yep.
person. And she was like, and
I
it
agree.
struck him as
Oh,
like,
I
oh, I
understand
feel
that.
bad for a living person who's in danger.
Bro,
now.
he's feeling alive
No.
for the first time in his life because
Yeah.
he's in a fucking gunfight with a hot chick and adrenaline's going and all this stuff.
yeah.
And then he's got Lame-O in the backseat who's like,
Do you want?
yeah, let's go. Oh, let's go see a movie.
Yeah.
Beep boop bop boop bee. Because I haven't thrown a robot noise in this episode
Which-
yet.
There it is.
I do think I don't know. To me, I kind of felt like
Beep, boop, bop, beep,
they
beep.
they probably drove that a little too far home with her.
Who?
her being just like
Did anybody? Okay,
Like
did anybody?
under
well,
programmed?
let me just say
honestly, for
this:
the
did anybody
situation.
feel bad that he left Cherry there?
No, not at all.
Oh, I did.
No,
I
She's
felt a
not-
little bad.
She's
I
not a real
guess I
person.
didn't.
she's not a real person.
I have the same feeling that he did at the end of the film.
Once she
only
started,
a robot.
Once she started not reacting to the danger, I was like, yeah, we need to get rid of this one.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna get us killed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same trigger for me. Yep.
I mean, I guess we're getting into what makes what makes somebody human. You know, I'm trying to give her Johnny 5.
She did
component.
not have
I don't
Johnny
think she hit that.
five
Yeah, for
vibes.
me.
No, she never hit that for me.
Yeah.
Like, and
Her
she's not in
program-
the
her-
film
her
enough to hit that for
programming
you.
was
True.
limited.
Actually, no, I'm actually going to disagree with you because going back
There
to
it
the
goes.
disc, if the
Okay.
disc is rare because it has all the things that have been tactilely learned
No.
through the relationship that she's had with Sam,
No, that's
and
not
it's
it.
unique, like doesn't that kind of
The memories.
add a level of humanity to
She doesn't.
this?
She doesn't learn
No,
from
I
it.
don't-
I don't think she learns from it. It's not like an
No.
AI, and she learns from it. But the memories of like of her are of their experience, their sex experiences are on there, and that's what he's clinging on to.
Oh, okay.
Because if you every time you listen to a recording, it's never his and
No,
her
true.
voice. It's just her
true.
voice.
There is a objectivity
But
to
but I feel like
his
had
relationship with her.
Lester or somebody got a hold of that disc, they would have popped it in and they would have simply wiped all of
Like
Right.
I'm your
Jake's
owner
or whatever
now.
is programming. Boom.
I don't know.
She still has
Yeah.
the core installation of like knowing different feelings and how to interact and be on a more emotional level, which is what people praise
so
the
she
cherries for.
doesn't have Star Wars droid
No.
sentience.
No.
No.
She's
Which
she's
might
just really
again,
good
they
at
kinda
like
recycle,
communicating.
but-
Which, like, he couldn't tell her, like, hey, get out of the car because I want to save this human, which is, like, first law of robots anyways. She should have just get out of the fucking plane.
Yeah.
Not in this world. There's no
Yeah.
laws in this
No,
world.
there's no rules.
There's no rules.
There's no rules.
No rules.
But he has to direct her, like it's almost like it's I get why you're sad now. Actually, because now that the comparison I'm about to make is really what it is. It's really that scene in the movie where it's like you're about to kill the dog
Yeah.
or something. Like you
Like-
got to take it out back. Like,
Yeah.
why don't you go get me
Go.
a Pepsi? You just go.
Yeah.
You know, it's the kindest thing I can do is set it free.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
you know, in the middle of a gunfight.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Why don't you go give me a Pepsi?
It
don't know.
definitely had those vibes.
Maybe I'm a little sentimental. I'm the type of person that, like, you know, when we got a
Set it
real like
free.
Christmas tree, and then you had to like send it off to the Christmas tree graveyard.
Yeah.
As a kid, I'd be like, "That's sad, man." It was just like
It's just-
it brought
it's
us
just-
so much joy, and
Yeah.
it was a part of the family.
It's just-
for
I
us.
mean,
I
you
also-
you already ripped that tree from its home.
I think it's
so you can put it in
hysterical.
your
He
house
killed
and
it, but
that
decorate
tree
It was
it.
for
killed-
your
it was
family.
kind of done for.
He
I do
hadn't seen
thi-
his family in a while now.
Pretty selfish of me.
I do think it's hysterical of Sam to fly around for a good 10 to 15 minutes, like watching this gunfight.
I like he pondered. He really thought it
why
through.
Why he ponders if he should save a human life
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
a robot
Yeah.
life.
Yep, he really had to keep looking back and
Yeah.
making sure she
It
was
was
in
like,
a lot of danger.
Making sure I
Thank
felt
God
like shit.
Jerry kept on saying stupid shit to
Yeah.
make that fucking decision easier,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
fellas? The fuck?
It helped.
I think that's
The
that's true.
writing in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird to have such strong themes and have such shitty writing. Anyways, Sam goes back. He gets fucking Cherry, or not
Evades
fucking
all
Edith.
bullets
He
flying.
gets on
Yeah.
Edith.
Yeah.
He, let,
Edith
he
sends
says,
Cherry
Cherry, go.
And they do probably one of the greatest things that you can ask a movie to do. And they fly off in the sunset and everybody's happy.
Bro,
Yeah,
it-
right?
Bro, I laughed. As soon as the credits started rolling, I laughed. I was like, it just ends?
That's
Yeah,
it.
they fly off in the sunset. That's how you end a movie,
That's it?
Kyle.
Fly off into the sunset.
It's understood they're gonna live happily ever
Ever-
after
yes,
and
absolutely.
have, get
The
married
rest of their lives.
and
Babies, all of
never
it.
have a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
They're going to have little tracker children.
Little
Yeah.
track of
That'd be great.
children.
Little Sam Johnson.
Little Sam Johnson's running around.
I'm waiting for the fucking prequel, The Border Wars.
Yeah.
Border Wars.
Jerry
I gotta know.
2000 prequel Border Wars.
I gotta know. Dude, so Sam was obviously in the fucking military. He flew. That's another thing they just never addressed.
They
He
bring
fucking
that
flew
up.
a plane in the
I
military.
was so shocked when I learned that. I was like, damn,
I mean,
Sam, you kind of badass.
The whole time you are kind of questioning, like, why does this guy know how to like use a gun? Like, why does he kind of understand like how to like
Yeah.
survive? And then they just
Yeah,
throw
why does he,
that
why
at
does
you.
he throw a bomb
Again,
inside
it
a
feels like
beehive?
something like maybe at the end of the script somebody was just like, hey, how do we explain that like Sam was able to do this to like
No.
fly a plane? And he was just
Military.
like,
Yep.
you know what? Military. We can just
Yeah.
throw a
That's
military
100%
line
what
in
they did.
there.
Yeah, they were like, oh my God,
Because
biggest twist.
When I
He's-
was watching
he's
the movie at the
ex-military.
end, I was like, when did he learn how to fucking fly a plane? And then I was like, oh yeah, the Border Wars. What a fucking brilliant line they threw in there to explain this.
Yep.
Because nothing else made sense. What do you say we get down and we rate this Mammer Jammer? I think it's time. We've talked about it.
We've talked about it.
Sure.
I'm
death.
ready to go. Ready to do it.
You ready to do it?
Yeah.
We can, I mean,
Yeah.
we've touched on sound, we've touched on production, we've touched on costuming.
Did we touch on
Yes.
any technical?
Well, we
Yes.
can go over it in our ratings.
I talked mad shit about the music and the score.
Yes,
It's
and
pretty-
we
it's
talked
pretty
about how
fucking
great the
terrible.
costuming was in the
We had-
Western
we had-
town.
Yeah, we're
and
good.
We're
the
good on
stage
outfits.
design. Yeah.
We're good on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's just do the.
We praised.
It's praised.
We praised. All right, guys. So let's rate this Mammer Jammer again. What are we? We're rating it chassis, right?
Robot chassis.
Robot chassis.
Robot chassis.
Robot.
Mm.
All right, let's start with Chris.
I'm gonna do 3 robot chassis.
Whoa,
on-
that's higher than I thought you were gonna give it.
Yeah, 3 robot chassis on Cherry 2000. First time watch. I obviously through the episode you could tell I didn't quite absorb everything that was happening in this movie. And there are moments that feel like it's kind of the same thing is happening in some parts, but I really do respect like the production design of this movie, the inventiveness of like the shots, and I do have some gripes about the acting. I feel like Melanie
Yeah.
Griffith's character was fairly flat. Although I like her look, I like her in a role like this, but for whatever reason, it just felt flat to me. I really thought there was a lot of creativity in the costuming. It was cool to see Vegas, the Hoover Dam, like the set design of all of that, and then just the settings and locations. So, yeah, what can I say? Better than average. Pretty cool, like, quote unquote, future sci-fi movie. And yeah, 3 robot chassis for me.
3 for Chris. I'll go next. I like to throw a curveball, and I'll go next. I think I'm at a 3.5.
Okay.
This movie is fun, but it's also got a layer to where it's like you can really read into it if you want. I did, and it was fun doing that. But there's also just like Kyle was saying throughout this podcast, there is a sense of adolescence to it. Where you're like, was this the parts of it? You're like, was this written by 12-year-old me? Like a 12-year-old boy? Did I write this? And you get that sense. But I'll tell you what, you never stop having fun with this movie, and that it has a charm to it that it's just fun, man, and it's a good time. 3.5 for me. I agree with Chris on the acting, though, but I also blame that a lot on the writing because, again, some of the stuff it seems like half of the script may have been written in crayon,
Yeah.
but I'm not 100% sure.
Mhm.
Still fun, though. Kyle?
Yeah, I'm actually right there with you. I came in at 3.5 on this. I agree with most of what you guys are both saying about the movie. I had a really fun time watching it, and I actually really look forward to rewatching the film because I do feel like there's some extra shit that I can pull out of it. Some additional zaniness or additional silliness, about the production. Like, it has some so bad it's good charms
Yes.
to it and qualities to it. And, like, the villain of Lester is just so good and so creepy and so well portrayed for the film. So it has these brighter moments that kind of mellow out the really stagnant performances and the overall acting and writing in the film, which is very flat, and kind of the music choice. My God, like you don't even attempt to add additional, excitement to the film through music. No, you're just gonna choose the free shit. Yeah, that's how it felt to me. So 3.5 overall. I'm gonna watch it again, and hopefully I watch it a few more times and get some cool, added value out of it.
I'm going to tell you, if you would have thrown some exciting music into this movie, Kyle, you would have sent people to the hospital.
Let's send it to the hospital.
Would have sent them to the hospital. That's what they had to take it out, test screenings. Mike?
I'm gonna also give this a solid 3. I actually agree with Cody. I think I watched it twice. The first time I said that was fun, and the second time I was like just as fun, right?
Yeah.
Also, again, whether intentional or not, it introduces a world with some interesting dynamics
Right.
that just gets you thinking oh yeah, I guess the world was like that. Yes, I do believe it's not played like it's serious. So they're probably it probably wasn't trying to drive that. I think the studios made the right choice to show RoboCop instead of this one.
Yeah.
That's a film that even though it has some comedic moments to it and some whatever, it's still it's more concrete in its deliverance of those topics, right? You can tell it's trying to say something like, hey, we're making an actual thing. This one, I can't tell if it is actually making a point to say anything or if it was or if it was unintentional. But at the same time, those topics were still present. They
Both
still
of
showed
them-
up somehow.
Both of them hit on like a dystopian future that both RoboCop in this
Yeah,
film
yeah.
hit on a dystopian future that is somewhat corporatized, which is interesting that they were gonna come out at the same time and kind of tap on similar but distant themes, both about love and a robot. Can a robot love? Yeah, fucking weird, huh?
Yeah, but
Interesting.
you know, again, the Cherry as the robot is not the main.
Right.
I think that's the difference. The shift goes to Murphy being the main character
Right.
and his thing and how he's being
The
exploited.
human battling
yeah.
the robot.
As where this
inside,
one, it was
or
just kind of
inside.
like whatever, and it's really just a love story at the end of this.
Yeah.
Like
I agree with because I was reading about the marketing department of Orion couldn't figure out how to market this film, and I agree with their assessment. Though, like at the end of the day, it is like a lot of different weird genres you're trying to smash together into one thing, and it's like, how do you sell that? How do you even explain the movie to somebody? You know?
Yeah,
So-
like, and also, like, I also felt watching this too that, like, at first I thought, I'm sure there's some funny things, but it doesn't really, like, comedy doesn't really punch through until like that's the second half of the
Right,
film.
yeah.
I do feel like once the Lester's thing is shown, it's what's going on.
I'm just laughing about something Kyle said because he's
Oh.
like, how do you explain this film to people? And I'm laughing because I'm like trying to put myself in like 1988.
Yeah.
I've seen this movie, and like
It's your job to
I'm
market it.
excited. Yeah, and like I gotta market a movie about sex robots
Yeah.
in 1988. Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck do I sell that? And I'm laughing just because I'm like, it is a daunting fucking task.
I
Yeah.
will say
That's why the film was delayed. Like they couldn't market it.
What's it? I
Can I tell
just
you,
saw
though?
this great movie. What's it about? Sex robots. Okay.
Well-
What theater did you see it in? Cause
I will say
What
on
other
the
angles
topic
can we
of
take?
a RoboCop, I really do think that this film in Verhoeven's hands would have been very different.
Oh man.
right.
Like,
Lester,
this
Lester
seems
would
like
have been a
something
much
Verhoeven
more
could-
disturbing section.
Yeah.
Actually, would I like to see a Verhoeven version of this film?
Yeah, like if he got it,
For the violence that he would have done with this
the
and
violence,
the sex,
the
the-
sex, just the way he addresses like
everything.
political,
Yeah.
discussion. Like, yeah,
Wow.
I would. I
Let's
actually
write him
would've
a
liked this
letter.
film.
Yeah.
Hey man, remember Cherry 2000?
Can you
The
remake
film
that
I-
for
the-
us?
the
Remake
film
Cherry
that they
2000?
did? Yeah, can you
We
make
were
it?
just talking about it on our podcast no one's heard of, and we thought it was a good idea. So.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's our ratings from everybody here. Mike gave it a solid 3. Chris gave it a 3. Me and Kyle are sitting at a 3.5. We really appreciate you guys listening to our show this week. Like I said, we do have a shout out to give. This one is from I Gave Up, gave us a 2-star review. It says, "It's all right, I'm a doctor. These would be fun people to know personally, but listening to them argue about whether artificial insemination was considered offensive back in 1972 broke me. This has to be one of the most superficial topics you could pick out from all films, Pink Flamingos. And the topic was handled superficially with everyone just shooting from the hip. The fundamental problem across the episode is lack of focus, and I don't think they know how to talk about films. Too bad their selection is terrific.
I agree.
I agree.
Hold on. How long did we talk about the winking butthole scene in Pink Flamingos versus the artificial insemination? I mean, you
I
want to
don't
talk
know.
Can I be
about.
honest?
I don't
I-
know time codes.
I went back on it. We talked about the artificial insemination thing for about 10 minutes.
And what about the
That's pretty-
everything else?
I mean, the show is what I think it was a 45-minute to an hour
Wow.
one.
No, that was. Yeah.
Good quarter of the show spent on that.
I mean, it's pretty long.
We did. We
It's pretty long.
Thanks for the review,
Yeah.
doctor.
No,
Or
but
not
no,
a doctor. I
No,
don't
good
know.
feedback. Honestly, good feedback.
Yeah,
Thank you so
I'm cool
much.
with it.
Hopefully
I dug
you give us another try. You listen to another episode.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
disappointment around every corner.
But you're right. We are lack of focus. We all have ADHD here.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, guys, that is our show. If you would like a shout out at the end of our show, please leave us a review on iTunes, and we will do that very thing for you. So hopefully you guys are doing that. Also, get your fan pics in. Head over to our website. Drop those off. Maybe you could be our next Cherry 2000, our robot in the desert that we're hunting for lustfully. That could be you. Social
our-
media. Follow us on social media. We have that at Cult Film in Review on Instagram, at Cult Film _review on TikTok. And remember, if you're going to join a cult, just make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next time.